Welcome all of you for the Radanks 6th Annual Conference, and we are proudly presenting at RICS Westminster and with the Surveyor House, and we are ready to welcome you all the delegates online and in person in this beautiful presidential dining hall. And Radanks is one of the pioneer in the mediation, international mediation training and international cross-border mediation services. So we are very happy to see that we are successfully going the mediation training program, mediation cross-border mediation also. And now we are launching in the regional languages mediation training program for the global, like in India, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and other countries where people they are not very much understanding the English language. So we are ready to give training in different languages so that it will be easy, because mediation is nothing to do with the country law, land law, section, articles or act. It is just a mediation. Mediation is basic communications to get resolved the dispute. Once we speak and bring out our grudges, whatever the problems are there, maximum disputes are resolved by talking, and mediation takes a very vital role for this. And welcome to Radanks Mediation 6th Annual Conferences. We all are here to welcome you in London, United Kingdom. Have a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of the life. Take care. Bye.
Welcome to the 6th Annual Radanks Conference. We're going to have delegates popping in and out, and some of the speakers are going to they're running late due to traffic and various other issues. We've got some people joining us virtually as well, and we are having some IT logistic changes, so they're still joining, so they'll keep coming in. So and all of the delegates who are joining online, I would urge you to turn your camera on, if that's okay, while you're participating. And I will now hand the floor over to the CEO and founder of Radanks, Dr. Raj, to give us the opening for the conference.
So welcome all of you, and good morning from London, and good afternoon wherever you are, and good evening in some other country. in America also it's midnight, so our delegates are joining from every part of the world. And I'm really missing those delegates who could not reach here from India and from Sri Lanka. Our Attorney General was also supposed to come. So I think there was some delay in visa status and all that. But it's life doesn't end anywhere. You are always welcome. And for the next conference, we are looking forward to see you. Radanks is one of the pioneer in the mediation and litigation. We are there for the legal tourism. Legal tourism is a unique concept in the legal world where we are very much taking care of from the airport to the court and back to your country in a safe way with a good outcome, positive outcome. Mediation is now the future, and we are very much looking forward for every person to understand that if there is any dispute, they don't have to waste their life, time, and peace by going to the court and struggling from the with the lawyers, with the court judgment, with the dates and time, spending a lot of money. It's really very difficult to wait and waste time. Post-COVID, we are really struggling with so many things, financially also, emotionally also, relations also, so many things are there. So mediation is the boon for the any dispute resolution, what we think. Radanks is pioneer for the cross-border mediation. We are dealing global mediation services. We are giving training for the all the countries people. Now we have come up with the regional language mediation training we are giving so that people, those who are not comfortable with the English language or any other international language, they are not happy and to deal with that. In that situation, we are going to the South Africa, Sri Lanka, India, so many dialect languages. We are coming up with the regional languages and the land languages, giving training to the mediation because mediation doesn't need any code of rule, section, articles, or to go with the any country law. Mediation is just a conversation. As much you talk, you discuss, you show your whatever grudges you are having in front of the mediators when you are opening your all the grudges, all the complaints, whatever grief and sorrow you are holding in your heart, which you are not able to speak in front of judge because you don't have time. You are not allowed to speak other than your lawyer. Your lawyer will be speaking to the court and to the judge only that much as much the time judge is given. In that situation, mediation is a very good opportunity to speak out when the grudges are out, when your tears are out, when you feel like that, okay, I have done enough, I have told everything what I had in my heart and what was troubling me. In that situation, mediation is giving a very beautiful solution for that dispute. And I think that Radanks is doing a very good job throughout the world. We are pioneer and we are looking forward for whole world to accept mediation first step before going to the court. Thank you all of you. Once again, welcome to London. London is one of the most beautiful city. We are in the RIC building, which is one of the most beautiful building and the venue is unique and prestigious. I wish and I hope to see you again in the same building. Have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.
So these are some case studies that we can talk about in terms of how culture does actively affect, because today's theme is about bridging cultures and technology, which is the new upcoming culture of the world. As we can tell, AI is the new upcoming culture of the world. So culture definitely affects mediation. So the question to everyone in the room is, does everyone, just a yes or a no, believe that culture would affect all disputes, not just culturally afflicted disputes? So some of the case studies that we have most commonly seen are civil and matrimonial disputes between different nationalities. For example, there was an Indian national and French national who had got married, and they then unfortunately had matrimonial disputes, and they used cross-border mediation through Radanks to resolve that dispute amongst each other. There was a commercial dispute between two South Asian nationals Why this is relevant is because they come from the same tradition, because often we think cultural dispute means different traditions, different cultures, but that is not the case. Cultural dispute basically means when you can also have different thoughts and varied opinions on how a culture or tradition should be followed. Work dispute, similarly, comes from work culture issues where two doctors working in the NHS can also have a dispute and it would be affected. Now I would like to hand the floor over to Alan Rides, Mr. Alan Rides, who is the director of the West London Chamber of Commerce. Alan, over to you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I guess I've got to stand a little bit now. So my name's Alan Wright. I'm the CEO of West London Chamber of Commerce. We're the biggest chamber of commerce in the southeast, with over 2,100 members. Good morning, and a business community of 8,500 companies. We have a very large international trade programme based out of companies living and working around the Heathrow Airport area who come from overseas to be part of West London, or from West London want to export internationally. The UK is one of the greatest trading nations in the world. Why do I say that? So, our UK population is only 65 million people. Yet, we used to be the 5th largest economy on the planet. We might only be the 6th now because we've been overtaken by somebody else called India. Yes.
I'm watching you.
I understand. But the largest economies in the world are the US, China, Germany, Japan, India. Population-wise, they have extremely high populations compared to the UK. We only have 60 million people. Yet we managed to trade and export over $1.2 trillion worth of goods every year. And most of that trade used to be with the EU. But we have now left the EU. And that means that we're reaching out more to our Commonwealth colleagues and to newer markets around the world, because it's those markets that are delivering the real growth in today's world. The UK and EU economies are all growing at about 1%. That's not growth, that's staying still. The economy in places like India and China are growing dramatically more. So for the UK economy to continue to grow, it has to trade with those economies that are growing in the world. And we have a really good opportunity to do that. And one of the really good things about what our country is doing is having signed free trade agreements with the United States, with Europe, but more recently with India, that's going to be enacted at the end of February, I believe.
Yeah.
It means that there's two huge countries, India and a little island off the coast of Europe called the UK, that have a common language, but the differences in the words of those languages can be very different and interpreted very differently. And when you have contracts to do business, it's really important to have an arbitration clause. And it's really important to have an arbitration clause that's written by people who understand what arbitration really is. And that's the reason why we have Radanks on our board as a director. And that's the reason why I've come along to events like this, because they're so important. If you don't have the right clauses in your contract, when you face difficulties, the whole thing falls apart. You have a huge dispute and it costs an enormous amount of money to resolve. Getting things sorted out at the beginning is the best way. And we are here in the RICS building, which is all about having the foundations of your building right.
Yeah.
This is all about having the foundations of your business and your contracts right. So I'll finally say that India historically has been a country that's traded internally, primarily. It's got 1.5 and growing population, billion people. It's the 5th biggest economy on the planet. It doesn't need to export very much. It's an internal consumption market. But India wants to grow internationally. Otherwise, it wouldn't have signed a free trade agreement with countries like the UK first and other countries around the world. So India will want to export and do business more. We are very lucky with our Indian community that we have in the UK, and especially in West London, where we're able to help build that trade from a solid base. The UK recently, last month, had a report issued by the World Trade Organization, the WTO, who did an independent report about the UK's economy. And they discovered something really unique. Mm-hmm. This is in our magazine coming out next month, or this month now. They discovered that 67% of the UK's GDP is on international trade.
Yeah.
India, by contrast, exports only 20% of its market. Mm-hmm. So for India to grow, it has an appetite to trade more. You talked a little bit about technology.
I did.
At the beginning. China might make the hardware. India makes the software. There's an awful lot of Indian technology companies that are looking to grow outside India. We have one here today. Mm-hmm. And we welcome them in the UK to have the UK as a base where they can grow from the UK and trade with Europe and trade with the United States. In today's world, where some countries are reducing their tariffs and signing free trade agreements, some other countries, I use the other on purpose, are increasing tariffs. So you have to be careful which direction you trade with, how you trade, and you need to understand the world's in a more complex way driven by tariffs. And we can help in the UK. We tend to be at the cornerstone of a lot of things globally, and we can help businesses grow and thrive without having the big issues that can occur in international trade. So working closely with Radanks, I very much welcome doing lots of things with you. We're taking a trade mission to India at the end of February next year to coincide with the enactment of the free trade agreement. And we've got an active free trade policy with companies around the world. So thank you very much for coming today. And it's great to be here and be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, next we've got.
Any other question for Radha?
Yes,
for Ellen?
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Alan?
Oh, good. Quick, move on.
I will ask you questions after. On to our next guest speaker, which is going to be Mr. Pradeep Chaturvedi, who was the former Joint Secretary of Rajya Sabha in the Indian Parliament, and he is also an ICT governance expert.
Radanks advisor is.
And he is now the Radanks advisor. So I was hoping for him to give us that news himself, but over to you, Mr. Chaturvedi.
Thanks, Adamya. Greetings to all of them who are sitting in the conference there and joining the online. Welcome for this conference, and I'm grateful that Radanks has found my experience useful for their own experience. Dr. Raj especially is doing a lot of work for the Radanks, for the mediation part of it. But when we talks about this mediation part, I have been associated with the Mediation Act of India when it was formulated. India has its own history of having a ADR or alternate dispute mechanism. I had an opportunity to work with the Company Secretary of Institute of India, where I heard the nitty-gritties of the corporates and the part of it. Unlike the other countries, India having its resources both in the corporate economy and the resources of our own natural resources also. Some of the countries who are relying on only on the corporate economy, they are finding it very difficult to survive on litigation part. Litigation worldwide is not an easy task to complete. So they always look for that traditional litigation must be having a alternate dispute mechanism. While teaching the management part of it, we always say it's a worldwide. When I was in Kabul also, it's a known fact. We are suffering from one disease, we don't know what we don't know. And that's basically a problem. It starts with litigation part of it. And the ADR is a one thing which has a solution lying over that part of it. When we were studying in the law, we were finding it that's having a 4 or 5 ADR mechanism. But mediation is the one mechanism which is the easiest way to go ahead. You need the person who understands your problem, who can give you solutions of that particular part of it. The dispute is of only a small, trivial matter, which has become a very huge when it comes to the corporate part of it. In arbitration, the person should be having any legal knowledge to do the act of that particular arbitration. And in mediation, it's anyone who having a knack to find a solution mechanism. When we talk about Indian context, we had a system of panchayat. When I was in Kabul, the litigation is mostly solved through a mediation only. Even the courts are not so much keen to take the cases. They say resolve the problems also. And we are a literature for the mediation bill for India. I found one interesting factor in the Australian system. With every court, they have a mediation center. Any case which goes to the court, has to go through the mediation center only. And 70% cases are resolved at the mediation center only. We are working on mostly on the mediation part of it. And then we find that it's very difficult to do it in a systematic manner, which has to be in a different part of it. First, we need to have a mediator who understands the problem of whether it's a corporate or it's another matter of that particular part of it. He need not to be a legal person, but he need to be a person of the higher caliber who can have a knack to solve the problems. And that's why Radanks has come into the picture. Because they are training the people, because they are not giving you legal training, they're telling you how to have a conflict management. In the management part of the negotiation or the conflict management. By simply putting a clause in the agreement may not solve the problem in the future part of it, because we have to accept that particular part of it. As long as we are having a court as next mediation, it's again a litigation is already in pending in that particular part of it. And it's happening worldwide, everywhere. We have to, apart from the training, what Dr. Raj is doing it's wonderful work, creating awareness about the mediation activity. And that way we must look into that aspect of it. And since I am joining online, it's not easy for me to continue for long. Being a academician by heart, I can speak for hours, but I want to limit myself here. I wish the success for this conference, and I hope so the litigation may get some respite if we start resolving the problems with mediation only. My best wishes to the Dr. Raj and his team and Radanks to start with the conference. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Just a polite note, I know this is a conference about the growing technology, but I would urge everyone, rather make it a very strong point to ensure that all your phones are on silent at all times during the conference. I know we can't help not going on our phones, but please ensure that your phones are silent because it's slightly disrespectful for the speakers who are speaking and who've taken time to come and speak. Thank you, Mr. Chaturvedi, for that great, insightful information and the speech that you've given. As you can tell, our IT team is constantly going around during as well, so that you also have the feel of attending the conference as if you're present, viewing the view just outside the conference room. What we're going to do now is that we were going to have Mr. Santhanan Krishna, who is the founder of Nivaran, which is a mediation agency in India. And unfortunately, he was unable to join virtually at this current time frame and or in person due to prior commitments. So we've got a little note, a message that we're going to play now. Sorry. As advanced as IT and technology really is, as we are all aware, this is a very common issue. Even though everything is set up, technology often fails us, which is why technology disputes are at its highest, be it in the world of cryptocurrency, in the world of AI. AI seems to be having a lot more disputes now. The most common dispute and the most recent dispute I heard about was about the theft of intellectual property. So a lot of writers have been complaining and disputing about how AI, because they've been using AI to assist them in writing better, so AI has in fact stolen their artistic intellect and has now started publishing AI specific books. Alan, what do you think about this? What is a predominant technology related dispute that you can think of? Be it in the news.
Disputes can happen from all sorts of different reasons. The simplest ones and the most complicated ones. And that's the difficult thing about answering your question. Disputes starting with marriages and divorce can, all start with the nicest of things and have the basics of it all goes wrong, let alone it gets into business and commerce. Largely, disputes in business are a result of lack of business. If you're doing lots of business and business is good, you tend not to have a dispute with somebody. You're there to do some business.
Yeah.
But if the business is not good, or the profit share in the business is not right, therefore the business is not good, people then look for reasons why there's a problem. And then when people look for reasons why there's a problem, they start to expand on those problems for their own self issues, rather than there's something wrong with the contract itself.
So what you're saying is it's a breakdown of communication.
What's the simplest way of putting this? In the UK, when I nod my head or I shake my head, people tend to know it's yes or no. In India, I don't know what that means.
Well,
Yes.
okay, what we're going to do now is we've got a video.
Adanya,
Yeah.
can I just put
Yeah,
my
yeah.
questions? I will little differ from you here. It's not necessarily that always when you have a loss in business, there's a dispute. There are disputes to be when you're making exceptionally good. When the dispute arises about the profit sharing, about the other things.
I mentioned
Right.
profit sharing. Yeah,
So when it's going really well, then also you have a dispute.
you can.
And similarly with the case of when you nod ahead in UK, I've lived and worked there. So like you're nodding yes.
I'm nodding yes.
I would rather take construed as, yeah, you're agreeing to what I'm saying. Having said that, it's a very human nature, and this particularly nodding of head is in the one part of the head, which is the south side. If you're happy to be in the north, people listen like we are listening right now, which is much more concentration and much more focused attitude.
For us in the UK, we live on a small island. To talk about India is like talking about the whole world of 1.5 billion people. We have enough difficulties on our little island talking to people in Yorkshire, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. I can't imagine the complexities
That's
of
okay. Yeah, that's
the
more
whole of
a-
India trying to come together
that's
as well.
more of a, with relates to UK, Great Britain or United Kingdom for that matter. It's more of a linguistic issue. Like in North, in Scotland, Scottish speak in a very different way when the Britishers, the white British, even they find it difficult southern side. Similarly, when I deal with Chinese, I live in Switzerland. So there I deal with Chinese, a lot of my clients. Even Chinese, they have a Chinese Korean, even they have a habit of for everything. Yeah. And you say that's okay. Oh, no.
Sorry, guys, the video's ready now.
I'm just mindful of the time. Our next speaker is going to be Dr. Manoj Prasad, who is the Executive Vice Chairman at Prudential, and he is also an international mediator. Over to you,
Thank you.
Doctor.
I'll stand up, right? It's easy.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome all new mediators and my colleague mediators. My name is Manoj Prasad. I work as a Executive Vice Chairman of an investment bank based out of Dubai. It's a fully licensed, regulated Cat 3 license. And I'm a career investment banker, being starting my career with HSBC, Barclays Capital. I run Barclays Capital for Asia, Middle East, Africa as a board member. And then Morgan Stanley, I was heading the region. So after leaving investment banking as a career, keeping that career, coming back to mediation, I'm a qualified lawyer as well. So thought of mediation is always a very important pillar in our solving many issues, like especially in the banking, I've seen my career. A lot of small issue can become a big, larger issue. If it is not solved properly, like Alan said, even whatever document you make, initially, if the problem is not solved immediately, that problem can lead to a bigger problem that can become cancer. And so what most of the business people and the banker and the colleague, and my colleague also, they take things for granted. Okay, client has said this, it's okay, we can convince, but no. If something goes, as everything goes well, fine. Something goes wrong, this becomes a big problem. And the small conflict or small misunderstanding can lead to a litigation. And litigation is a very, very difficult and tedious process. To avoid litigation, going even before the litigation, mediation has come out as a very, very good. And I'm really thankful to Radanks, who has brought mediation and propagated the mediation, promoted the mediation and the training the way done. I am an alumni of Radanks mediation course institute. So it's very impressive. I've done a lot of research with the many institutions, how they teach, how they promote. And I've met a lot of mediators. But with Radanks, I see as a very ground level practical experience and the knowledge which I've gained been very helpful, very fruitful. So in banking also, I've used this technique because we do, as a management, you do solve a lot of problems, you meet people, you take it to the different level and try to resolve the issue. But after doing this mediation course, I gained more extra confidence and to how to resolve and avoid major conflicts. So mediation has been a very, very useful tool that can solve many problems, even especially like we live in a world where small misunderstanding can lead to a litigation. Little bit small, you lose friends. When the fight happens between the brothers, family, neighbors, landlord, tenants, business partners, supplier, customer. So the mediation is a very good process. So I really encourage everybody to promote this more, help people. And this is the easy way to solving many issues. Like we have practically, we have seen in our, when we do the mock mediation, like there's a practice. So there, how easily solved, but the life is not that easy. When the conflict happens, it's very, very difficult, very challenging. Everybody has their ego, everybody has their problem. We need to manage that. So I'm really thankful that I've done it. And thank you for giving me opportunity to speak in front of everybody. Really encouraged. Thank you so much. And we are here for any questions, please call me, speak to me one-to-one or whatever. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My question would be that in case of arbitration, I have seen one of the parties is not interested in parting with their money. Mostly it is a government or a contractor. Contractor definitely has limited funds and he is already an aggrieved party. So government has no paucity of funds. They can go right from a smaller court to high court also. So in arbitration, my observation has been that government wants to delay and delay and delay.
Right.
And even if an award is given to the party in favor of the contractor, so the government can take it to the higher court. Then first of all, in India, they have a commercial court at a district level. So they exhaust 1 or 2 years there, then take the matter to high court. And finally, they go to Supreme Court also,
Right.
which at times have told them that you have no case.
Yeah.
Why are you wasting your time and money here?
Right.
Still, they go there.
Yeah. See, these are a lot of things happening. Because I live in Dubai, and where I've seen a lot of cases has gone to court, and court is overloaded, overburdened. Even now, mediation is becoming more popular in UAE, especially United Arab Emirates. They are encouraging people, anything less than £200,000 cases, go to mediation. Family matter, go to mediation. So the court can do their core job and solve the bigger court cases, bigger issues than getting so much overloaded. So I think mediation is becoming very popular, and it's been there for history, but it was not really commercialized, not really, educated much better professional way in the current life we live. So yeah, you rightly said, like there are issues with that. That's why mediation is always better in 4 hours or 5 hours of time. Most of the cases resolved on the spot. So yeah.
And in fact, just to add up with what Dr. Manoj just said, especially in Dubai, Middle East, UAE particularly, and Switzerland where I live, there is we call it a TAT, turnaround time, that you have to decide within 90 days or 6 months. It's not like that you keep on dragging it till eternity, typically what we see in a lot of countries. You have a turnaround time, you have to decide, you read a conclusion. So the owners, the pressure is on both the sides to provide them whatever maximum on their side they have to give. So
Either way, the judgment is very fast.
So
What I wanted to know was whether is there any law prohibiting government to approaching High Court or Supreme Court?
see, that's something like that you're denying a right to justice.
Yeah, right.
Maybe the award is not in your favor.
So
Then you say that the judge has a prejudice against me. He has a strong prejudice against me. So I'm not happy with this judgment because he didn't like my face, he didn't like my day. So I should have a recourse.
yeah.
You can't do that. That's a denying right to justice.
But then you see the condition of the contractor. From his side, great injustice has already been done, and you are constantly delaying the case even after the award is there in his favor. And why, in particular,
You
one
must
particular.
follow the rules of the need to know theory, Mr. Mishra.
Correct.
You cannot take any organization's name which you have already dealt with that.
Hmm.
Gitanjali, can you speak on this? What Mr. Mishra is talking about the delay in the court and the justice about any commercial dispute?
Well, in India now, the delay part is particular. Yes, I can say that there are some delays because in courts we get 3-4 months after 3-4 months we get date. So the delay is pretty much there, but it's not like it used to be. earlier. Now the courts are also, very aware of the fact that we need to deal with the issue. So many of the matters are going for mediation and arbitration. In commercial matters, it is compulsory to avail the course of mediation and then come to the court. So it is required, because if you are not going for mediation, then the courts will not entertain. They will first ask you to go
Yeah,
for the mediation.
that's what I wanted to hear from you. She is a lawyer from Supreme Court and High Court. And Pradeep Chaturvedi, do you want to say something on this particular point which Mr. Mishra has raised, that the court is taking its own time and harassing the clients in India most of the time?
I don't think it's a harassing, but this is a right available to the all the petitioners to go to the court. Yes, it takes a lot of time. Earlier, the acceptance of the mediation was less. When the bill was enacted, the government party was not there at all. But now the bill act itself having a government to come to the mediation part of it.
True.
The changes will take on time. You can't expect the changes to be done in a overnight scenario. Now people are accepting the mediation, especially the smaller cases like in India we have a Negotiable Instrument Act, which is talking about check bouncing cases. These are being referred to the mediation. It is getting resolved in much earlier time. Bigger cases are yet to become, but government is the largest, you can say, the in litigation, but they are also looking for solutions. There are guidelines for that also.
Thank you, Mr.
The
Pradeep
people are
Chaturvedi.
coming up forward, and they're getting resolved also.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chaturvedi. Kishore Dare, do you want to highlight something on this particular question, what Mr. Mishra has raised?
Actually, it's difficult to make any generalization. It varies from case to case, but the dramatic, decline is there in the intervention or the interference of the courts in arbitration, especially during last few years. Still, you see the old habits die hard, and also the approach of parties is very significant, whether it is mediation, arbitration, litigation. Now, since here is a right to justice is being talked about, so it's very important that when because I was there in district courts for the last few days, and what I observed that because matters are now being referred to the mediators by the courts, and where the things are coming to the mediator, so it's very a big challenge for the mediators to convince, not me convince or persuade, but to make it the parties see the reason. Because if they are having, that very deep and profound and intense hostility, so it's next to impossible. But if there are parties who are pragmatic and who are willing to resolve the dispute, so it can be done very easily. So it's difficult again to make any sweeping generalization. Changes are taking place, but it would take a lot of time to make the things very concrete and see change in a very large way. But it's a beginning, modest and humble beginning, and it's a welcome sign. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kishore. Rekha, do you want to say something in a short?
Uh, Hello everyone. Yeah, in this matter, I have the same view. Like in India, yes, a commercial, not only just the commercial matters are getting settled, other matters are also getting settled through mediation. And commercial dispute, there are many cases. There are which are great in amount also, but they are also getting settled. And apart from that, financial institutions are also coming forward to get the matter settled through mediation, because through that, it is taking less time. And with the also the financial institutions also, they have they have to put very less, they have to spend very less amount in the mediation as compared to the litigation. So, mediation in India is, I think it is playing a great role.
That's very true. We have Sheila Chandran from Chennai, Sheila Washington. She is also in the Mediation Center of India. Can you highlight this something what Mr. Mishra was asking about that, how the justice delay?
Yes, regarding good morning to you all. Regarding India, in especially in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, I would say that litigation, yes, it's getting delayed for number of years, and we all know that there is a process like from lower court it goes to the high court, then to the Supreme Court. So the process is too long for eternity. Yes, not. I don't think the person who sued will not get any benefit. Maybe their generations, especially in the land cases. But mediation, it does a great role. Being a co-mediator for quite some time, I can truly tell they just sit across the table and they settle it on time, within few sittings or on the same sitting they used to settle it. So I find mediation is something very very much, it gives it takes away all the hardships, the wasting of time or money or energy, whatever it is, and happily people are settling it, especially in land cases. I see that among the siblings, yes, regarding partition cases, yes, it is getting settled.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sheila. So Vishwan has reminded that we have to think about TAT, this philosophy and theory. So now India is also moving towards that, and that's the reason, Mr. Mishra, as you discuss about some industrial and some industry sector, where the justice are, those days have really gone past. Now from 2023. 2003, the Indian government has passed the mediation bill, and we all are looking forward to get the matters resolved as soon as possible through the mediation, because other alternate dispute resolution, again, it's take you to the court at the end of the day, but mediation doesn't take you to the court for any reason, no signing, nothing. So this is a very good thing, and I would remind all the delegates, please do not discuss if you have attended any particular organization's case. Always remember, need to know theory. Do not discuss the clients or versus which cases are going. Example doesn't mean, and mediators are always there for that, to keep the confidentiality. You don't have to discuss anything. As many cases you are doing, as many cases you are. Suppose you are taking the case Ukraine versus Russia or Trump versus Mr. Modi. God forbid. So if any take cases, even if you are taking the high profile to show off yourself that you are a great mediator and you have dealt with Mr. Modi's case or Mr. Trump's case or Mr. Keir Starmer or any XYZ, you have to just talk about the sense of the case, not the companies, not versus whom. So, Mr. Mishra, you are a senior mediator and a senior professional. Please make it sure not to discuss any name.
No, yes.
Not at all.
I think that is the greatest flaw from a mediator's perspective. You could have mediated the biggest celebrities dispute. Unfortunately, no one except for you. It's like the saying goes, take it to your deathbed. You cannot disclose that I mediated
Yeah.
for whom. You can discuss the case study like I did.
Study, you can say.
Like I talked about the civil disputes, the commercial disputes. I'll tell you the core of it, the basics, but please do not give out any names
This is
because
what
you
the
are at the
mediator-
risk of being sued.
This is the first quality of the mediators. We are here for the mediation conference. Don't take it in your heart that someone is pointing you what to do. Definitely every pace you have to learn something. So always take care. Do not discuss any name where you have done mediation or litigation, because once you are a mediator, you are a mediator. Whatever cases you are discussing in litigation, do not do anything.
Okay.
So please move on.
We've
Yeah.
now got some time.
So by that time, we can go with Dr. Dinesh. You introduce yourself.
Good morning, ma'am, and good morning to all of you.
Yes, please.
I am myself Dinesh Kumar, and I from Faridabad, Haryana, and I have done my LLB last this year. And I want to. I have experience in civil engineering, mainly in construction management and arbitration and work with DFCCIL, Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India Limited, under Ministry of Railway. We saw the arbitration process. This is very lengthy process, including litigation and other things. I think mediation is less consuming time and save money for this, because most of the cases litigation between contractors and mainly government of India, government entity body, the paper work is not proper, but they have arised the claim mainly in delay analysis of the work. There are so many disputes between farmers, acquisition of lands, so many disputes between the farmers and the contractors and the government entity. There are a lot of litigations which takes so much time to resolve these disputes. So mediation is very important thing to introduce in India. I think in 2023. Now I am very new to in law field.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, ma'am.
much. Thank you, Dinesh. We've actually incidentally got two Dineshes attending the event today. One is Mr. Dinesh Kumar and one is Mr. Dinesh Saraswat, who's also attending the mediation. So now what we're going to do is we're going...
Dr. Dinesh Saraswat, please go ahead with your introduction and talk about the education system, what we are coming upon. So over to Dr. Dinesh Saraswat. He is our senior mediator and he is into finance sector. But Ankaras, please just pause for a minute.
Very good afternoon, everybody in the different countries you are sitting here. I'm Dinesh Saraswat. I'm one of the mediators attached to and very much originated and born with the Radanks. I'm so proud to be here that I'm representing Radanks and I'm part of Radanks. And for last 20 years, say 19 and a half years or so, I shifted to UK. I'm deeply into education here in the higher education. And when I came to know the concept of it, then I thought this is the in thing and it requires to be attended to and I should be involved with it. In India, out of my passion of legal background, I did my studies, law, LLB, LLM, then my master's, PhD, many things on the study side, but as a banker, and then educational institutions. Ever since I came over here, I wanted to pursue that. And I'm so very happy that Dr. Renu Raj would find that potential in me, which I did not know that I do have that potential. And she insisted that you must be included in helping the community as a whole for your own satisfaction. So I'm here. So a few of the points I would cover and a few of the clarifications to the best of my knowledge, what I understand a bit about it, that whenever the mediation comes, it is other than the arbitration. It is other than other matters of dispute resolutions. It is that is the need of the hours that it does not take long. It does not prolong the matters. It is being resolved then and there between the two parties. And court's involvement is not there. In that particular case, as Dr. Raj has mentioned, going to the court means you are not having any voice as a litigant. It is the parties are not having, it is their solicitors and they are arguing for their best known reasons, only 2-3 sentences, and judge is deciding who has no knowledge of the case. He understands what the advocates, but here both the parties are understanding, talking to each other, resolving, having come, please understand, two parties having agreed to come for the mediation, that itself shows they have the willingness and a strong commitment and concern about that they want to resolve it. They do not want to go and enter into it. So under these circumstances, this is a very good platform that it is to be done. Now coming to the education side, which I handle, and I'm still into the higher education. Now the free trade, what agreement has been signed now, India and UK, and 7 universities, precisely 6 or 7 universities have already entered into the India. Many more are coming. Last evening, I attended, a few of the vice chancellor had come. I had interacted with them from India, and I was interacted with the Maharashtra Mandal, and so many other people were also there, and they also decided that they would like to enter into it. So there is a great scope for this thing. Many disputes will go, many things will come up in the process of trade agreements. So once this UK is exporting the education to India, you can always see, you cannot discount the possibilities that disputes will not increase. Disputes will increase. It's a natural process which will be, because today you agree something, tomorrow you may not agree on those terms and conditions. So the best part is the mediation, which is required to be attended to with all seriousness. So the free trade agreement, what it is there, it gives a tremendous potential that disputes will come up, look for it, ask for it, and it should be resolved through the mediation process, not going through the International Court of Justice and so many things, internationally. Many of the firms, they are settled in India, international MNCs, and Indian firms are settled here. They want their revenue to be generated through those disputes, but it is not a platform. Mediation is the platform which requires to be attended. It requires to be promulgated and promoted. So the export of education, UK education, which is in the high demand world over, especially in India. India still have very high respect for the UK universities, because I handle UK universities, so I am aware about it. So the conflicts and litigation, all these things can be settled through that, because in the regular contractual obligations, there is a limitation act operates. Here, there is no limitation act. The moment both the parties agree on this, they can dispute and they can decide it at any point of time. So there is a small saying I was thinking in the national lottery, if you wish to win, you have to be in. That's the tagline. If you wish to win, you have to be in. If you wish to be benefited by this mediation, you have to be in it. You have to understand the concept and you have to tell that. It could be any field. You have to be in it. Merely talking about it, you have to be in it. So the pioneering action, what Radanks has given it, which I can very boldly state, because I'm one of the person who has been benefited in my personal status, in my social status, in my knowledge status, and then I'm able to contribute towards the society and maybe imparting my small knowledge of this.
Thank you, Dr.
So in that particular case, to the entire galaxy of Radanks here, nationally, internationally, I welcome you all here, and I sincerely wish that we would do a wonderful job together as a team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dinesh. Dr. Dinesh Arswat is moving forward for the United Kingdom's colleges, universities. We are starting our training program and certificate course. So we will be taking charge for that to get the things done and move forward with Adamya, our team leader. So that's great. So I think your speeches are ready. Okay, no problem. So, Mr. Mishra, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. I'm R.P. Mishra, Rajendra Mishra rather, and I'm associated with Mrs. Radanks since April of this year. I find them very, very professional, and as my wife would testify, there has been a lot of change in me after my association with Mrs. Radanks has started. And all this has happened during 5 or 6 days of the training course that I got through them. And best part is they don't leave you there. They carry you forward. Your journey in mediation continues through their beautifully designed CPD courses. And in addition, they invite
me every now and then for moot court kind of thing, which again helps me in brushing up my knowledge about mediation, the technique. I'll use this opportunity to tell my experience, my journey. I was born in 1952, and with Hindi medium, I could find a place in IIT Kanpur, which was a very big feat, which I realized after being there. My first semester, I could not understand even a word of English, which professors used to use. So those 6 months, I had almost tears every time I attended a lecture, but I had a resolve that I can't go and tell my father that I have failed, I'm leaving IIT and I cannot carry the march forward. So I completed the course, then I wrote an exam for railways. And I spent 36 years of active life in railways in various capacities. They sent me to Montreal, Canada, and UK, also as a part of training in computerization. Indian Railways were using manually filled registers till about 1998 or so. So with the help of Chris, now it is all being done through computer, and we can handle the
That's great, Mr.
biggest kind
Mishra.
of passenger load.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra. It's good to hear your journey, and we are really proud of you
Yeah.
that you didn't give up. And not giving up is a really good example. That he didn't give up because he didn't understand English, and but he is a pioneer, and he has really succeeded in his professional life as well. Congratulations.
One minute,
Yeah,
I'll
please.
take on
Yes, please.
my post-retirement journey,
Yeah.
which permitted me a field where arbitration could be my main job. So this lasted till about 2022. After that, I moved over to mediation. So I'm very excited about all this. And I'm sure mediation is the future of dispute resolution, not only in UK or India, but entire world has to accept it as a technique because it leaves the relationships intact and time taken is very, very short. With this, I'll close my statement here. Thank you so much.
So, the speeches are ready, and
Yeah, we're gonna try it one more time, and once we fully, hopefully we should be hearing some stuff.
so, Mr. Mishra, how are you finding yourself in mediation after arbitration and in your professional life?
It's like sitting in a good train versus sitting in Vande Mataram Express. And there, I told you this outcome, even after an award is there in somebody's favor, is uncertain.
Yeah.
Again, you are at the mercy of the courts.
Courts, yeah, that's very true.
So here, because both the parties are willing and they have reasons to come to the table, everything is not going to litigation
To resolve the issue.
after the mediation is done. Yeah, that is the best part of the.
This make it sure you are over the judge.
Yes.
It is on record, off record, in person, in crowd. You are over the judge. You have to be very particular where to speak, how to speak, how many. It's not like that you are gathering people and started taking contacts. Okay, give me your number because somebody has met you. Because you never know. You are an international accredited mediator. You are not going to deal only in particular country. You are going to deal for whole world. You never know who met you and where you met someone, and you took the contact details, and his or her brother or sister or known person has seen you in Facebook, Instagram, and anywhere, and then you are off the mediation. You can't be the mediator. So you have to be very careful where you are meeting.
We're going to talk about a small events company called Sparks Events who ordered 500 brochures from a local print shop. Okay, so all the mediators in the room and non-mediators in the room, please keep track of, including the virtual ones who are joining us as well. Please keep track of what I'm saying. It's also going to come up on a slide written. So a small events company called Spark Events ordered 500 brochures from a local print shop for an upcoming conference as this one. Now, Sparks Events expected the brochures to arrive by Wednesday, the 25th of October, so that they could include them in their delegate packs when the order arrived, but the order arrived on Thursday afternoon, the 26th of October instead. So the company said that this delivery was late and they were printed in the wrong shade of blue and they refused to pay the full invoice to the local printer shop. So the printer shop argued that the color issue was not their fault and that the company had approved the digital proof, which used the exact color printed. They also explained that a supplier delay caused the late delivery and they had emailed Spark Events about this 2 days earlier. So the printer shop believed that they had fulfilled the job correctly and expected full payment. Spark Events said they never saw any email about the delays and insisted the approved proof looked different on their screen. Both sides felt the other was being unreasonable. Now, this is a very realistic case that actually tends to go to court as a small dispute. Does everyone agree? Anyone disagrees? This online, everyone? Do you think that this is a very valid, legitimate case? I will presume yes. So the question for all the mediators in the room is going to be, what do you think could be the cause on both sides for the dispute? So let's start with Ivana. Or rather, how do you think they should resolve it? Who do you think is on the right?
I don't think I should say who's on the right or wrong, first of all. But I think mediation could definitely be used in this scenario. Yeah, I think I need just a little bit time to kind of put one and B2 in my head. So if anyone wants to go ahead, I'll come back with some idea.
Okay, Mr. Someshwar, do you think that either of the parties made any assumptions? Could it be possible?
Party two, the supplier, they have made an assumption that they have made about the delay, which definitely got challenged by the Spark event, that they haven't received any such mail. And similarly, the supplier did not get any confirmation from the Spark event that yes, they acknowledge the mail and they are okay with the delay.
Okay, so you believe that the assumptions on the small printer shop that they had sent the email because they have never received a confirmation from the other party that the email has been received and acknowledged. Mr. Dinesh Kumar, what is your opinion? Do you think there were any assumptions made on any of the party sides?
So sample, a print pro company sending a sample of the browser. And the Spark Events company is already okay or not, that sample.
So basically, Mr. Dinesh is saying that the assumption was made that the printer will be based off of the sample without thinking about how the printer would affect it. Dr. Dere, what is your opinion?
Actually, there is you see lot of misperception or misunderstanding about you see the cause of delay and the color. While you see the company that is Spark Events who ordered this brochure to be printed, so they are saying delay has happened. The supplier is saying no, they had already informed. And about color also, they are saying you see they got the digital proof. So whether you see they should have also the hard copy of this, I don't know. So
Okay.
both the sides are making claims and counter claims.
Okay, Mr. Dinesh Saraswat, do you think that there was any actions on Spark Events side that probably escalated this conflict?
Yeah, in a way, at the very beginning, when the things were settled that we will be seeing the printouts and all of the things, that means I presume that they must have agreed on this, then only the printing process will start. And later on, the dispute came up, and I mean, the dissatisfactions at both the levels. So I personally feel that in the between the lines, I can read if somebody says that we have sent an email and confirmation, the printers will not go for the printing if the confirmation is not there. So the presumption on that I personally feel from as an outsider that there is some missing link in between which need to be thoroughly probed into at the time of this thing, both the parties when they are being mediated. And with that angle, it is to be found out by giving the options to them to discuss on that issue and let them come out clean with their intentions. That's how I feel.
Okay, well, Shakti, what about you? I know that you're not a mediator, but what do you think that there's something that Print Pro could have done, the printing shop could have done to prevent this dispute from happening?
Yeah, so based on this case study, right, I could see the first one is we need to get the confirmation what has been agreed between the two parties, and the next one is on the whether the Spark, right, did they give any sample proof or anything related to the print, right? So they should have agreed between the both the side. So we should see what would be the deviation in the requirement, what has been delivered, and so that could be the communication gap between the two parties. So that's the thing I could analyze.
Okay, Rekha, do you think that Spark Events deserves a partial refund?
I think there is a well, I can see, in my opinion, Spark event, they also their complaint about the shade of blue. So they have it's looking like they have approved it over the by seeing the it on digital screen only, and and yes, I think so. Yes, I think so. There should be, as far as I think, there should be, yes, there should be refund. I think so.
Gitanjali, what do you think Spark Events could have done to prevent this from happening?
So Spark Events digitally saw it, but they could have asked for earlier an early delivery of a sample, or they so that this issue, because it is a issue that in digital screen the color may appear to be something which is not the real color of the product. So they could have asked for a proof of or a sample to be sent to them in a physical form at an earlier stage, which could have avoided the whole issue of the color. And apart from that, yeah, they could have like checked up or follow up the supplier email as well, which could have solved the delay in communication part. So from Sparks, this could have been done.
Okay, so Mr. Mishra, what do you think a Spark Events needs? What do you think they really need?
My take on this would be in alignment with what Mr. Shakti has said initially. Normally, these small printing job forms, they don't have a format on which an agreement should be signed. But this is the basic thing against which we can measure the faults of the fellow who is ordering it, Spark Events, and the fellow who is executing it. So in absence of this agreement, everything is fluid, you know. So in that case, my take would be to see how much damage has been caused to Spark Event by this failure of the printing fellow, and then who is at really at fault? I mean, the delay was from which side in confirming the first copy that he shared with the Spark event? And then how much time extra he has taken? And thirdly, what has been the, the impact of this delay on the Spark event side?
Okay. Adabi, how do you think, what do you think the printer shop's needs are?
There are two issues here. The first one is evidence of the email that was sent to Spark. Need to see the evidence that the printer actually sent the email. And secondly, the original, how it started. What were the things that was exchanged before at the beginning? So that will allow me to see what has been, what color was put in the first place. So we go from there.
So my quick question to Sheila is, everyone's talked about to see if Spark Events did actually receive the email, right? Most people are talking about, and it's very evident that Spark Events are saying they haven't received an email. What do you think could have been the reason for them not seeing the email, not receiving the email?
Maybe the technology.
Okay.
Technology would have been failed. Sometimes we send mails, but we don't realize, we believe that the mail has been sent, but we don't realize it has been not because of the server problem or something like that. Maybe that would be, I guess. Yeah.
Same question. Amrit?
It could be anything. It could be like their own motives. Maybe they saw the email and they didn't.
Maybe
said
they
that
lied.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe they lied. So from a mediator's, yes?
May I contribute?
Yes, yes.
As the last line of it, that the Spark even said that they never saw any email about delays. This itself is quite, it's a matter of which can be settled very easily because it's a technology. If they claim that we have never seen it, the other party can always say, this is my sending mail. This is which can be very convincingly can be said, and that can be proved. So if they can prove that, the other party, that yes, we have sent it and this is the confirmation, there is no dispute on that. That means the first party, Spark Events, is telling lie that we have never seen it. And later part, they say, as regards approved of the proof of the look different on their screen, that can also be seen how much difference it is and what it screen, because now the color combination, Adobe, so many things, technology is there, which is not disputable. So this particular thing, in the very first meeting when the both parties are sitting for the mediation, that becomes very convincing case, and I think in 2 hours' time it can be settled.
Yeah, 2 hours, yes. Mr. Chaturvedi, what is your take on this case?
It depends upon the location where we are. If it is in England, the tortoise liability will be higher. If it is in India, it will be settled separately. We should not forget the geographical region of that particular part of it. My opinion, there are two issues involved. One, the color of the card is not matching. And the second one, a delay of few hours. It was asked to deliver evening earlier and they delivered next morning. So the both the parties agree. But if in India, it could have been settled in different way. In other part of the country, world, where the tortoise liability is high, even though Spark has no loss, but they have suffered a loss because the delay factor is there. So in India, it could have been the color. Even you do the technology, Adobe, and everything. Color sets have a different look in different lights. Even the resolution on your system itself, you send some color to me and I look some other color to me. It could be a possibility, but the dispute is there. The intention has to be seen, whether they want to pay or not. They had done the work, had delivered few hours late. If it is suffering, if it is delivered after the event is over, then it's a different issue. These all things has to be seen in that particular perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Chaturvedi. So we are all in agreement that mediation can resolve this case?
Yes.
Yes. So what, as a mediator, let's start with from the end of the table, what as a mediator would you do to try and bring them to a resolution?
Most important, bring them to the table. and discuss with them. And definitely Spark has an advantage here because irrespective whether the mail has been given or sent or not, the purpose for 25th was defeated. The event is passed and they could not fulfill their commitments. So definitely I see a room for Spark even for a compensation, maybe part payment, refund. That could be a good idea.
So that's from a business standpoint of view. Let's think from a layman's standpoint of view. What if, just what if, playing the devil's advocate, as we famously use in the mediation process, what if Spark Events gave an email address that is no longer functional and this is now Spark Events' fault? Would that still put Spark Events at the advantage?
I'll counter you here. If the digital footprint has been shared, that means they are in communication with each other on the email. That's how you send a digital footprint, digital sample. So if that has been there, that means the email is very much working. So that defeats the purpose that the email is wrong and they gave a wrong email address. And similarly, if they have an event, why they would do something like that where they want that to be the part of their event package.
Yes, Mr. Saswat, I feel like you've got an opinion.
Yeah, no, as he has mentioned it, it is very much convincing to me that when it is not the end of that particular email where the dispute is expressed openly, it is from the very beginning. If one or two emails have been exchanged, that means everything is functioning. And later on, if somebody is saying contrary to that, that need be probed. And as a mediator, while we are doing it, we have to rephrase these things in order for both the parties to understand and express their real feeling as to are they needing a compensation or why they are disputing by rephrasing as a mediator, by rephrasing this thing. I think that can be resolved because it's not a very big issue and both the parties will never feel like going in for a further litigation, and it would be resolved there by rephrasing it at the end of this thing. I personally feel because it's a very small dispute and both the parties do not have the time and resources and the money especially to keep on entering into that. They are all small players.
Okay. Does anyone online have any opinions to give?
Yeah, I would like to say something. Yeah, both the sides, they should have done some due diligence. The parties that ordered the brochures, so they should have been clear about the time, the deadline, the color, and the supplier. They should also be careful because when they say that they sent an email, so they could have informed the recipient by phone that please take the email, or they could have sent a hard copy also, and that probably might have helped in preempting or preventing this dispute. Thank you.
Anyone else from online? Don't feel shy. No? Anyone in the room? Yes?
Can I add
Yeah,
from
of
layman
course.
perspective?
Yeah.
So from the technology perspective, right, the technology is fine, but that could be human error. So it could be the type of mistake in the email ID. So that's one thing. If the Spark team, right, they would have sent a wrong email ID, or if they created the new conversation type, so that could be a type of mistake that could have happened. And another one is on the Spark side, right? They should have some buffer time because they are conducting some events. In that case, right, they should have some buffer time to manage that event and distribute the brochures so that if it's any delay or there could be some buffer time, right, so that they could do a reorder, and the local printer shop, right, they can do a reprinting also. So that's the one thing. But the reputation for that Spark event, right? So they do have they do have upper hand to create a dispute on their side. But from our perspective, right? So we need to ensure what has the conversation has been made So we need to get all the details from them and then do an analysis. And after that, right, so that could be some gaps, could be the communication gap, or it could be the requirement gaps, or it could be the technology gaps. So we need to analyze and raise the dispute based on the compensation or a local print shop, right? So they can do agreement with them. So what kind of compensation they can make.
Very well said. Anyone else?
In India, typical scenario where email is involved is like this. After some time, the fellow who is doing the printing will call the Spark event. Have you received the email? It could follow after 15 minutes or half an hour. Fellow will say, I haven't. Then he'll say, you please check your scan box. The fellow will go to scan box and most of the time he'll find it there. Sometimes it happens that it has not reached the scan box because there was some error in typing. But since both the parties have been in touch with each other earlier also, this possibility is ruled out because by then the computer knows, the mail knows that this fellow is a regular. So invariably the mail should be there if it has been sent by the person. Now the question is who is going to be the loser in case the email is not received? Naturally, the small fellow who is doing the printing job. And on the other side, the Spark event also will have nothing to gain if he doesn't receive it. So both the parties are interested in getting the whole thing done in a smooth manner. So in this case, the issue of a Spark event is stronger.
Okay.
Because he has not received it, and as a result, the entire event passed away, and he has not been able to give the brochure to the people who attended it.
Okay.
So the compensation, if at all, is to be paid from a Spark event, then it has to be very, very notional, and just about covering the expenses incurred by the printing fellow. So that would be my take. But of course, it will depend upon how they respond to the questions that mediator puts.
Okay, so let's do a quick short survey. Does anyone from virtually want to say anything before I do the quick short survey? Gitanjali?
I mean, the situation itself is very open-ended. It says that they approved the digital proof. In what manner did they approve the digital proof? Whether it was brought to them, where did a person bring it to them and they saw it using pen drive in their system, or whether an email was sent is completely silent. So we don't know whether there was prior email communication, but it is for sure that the party must have communicated in some manner. So apart from email, there must have been some communication, because it is not clearly mentioned as to how the communication was taking place between the parties. So giving email so much of importance, I believe it should not be done, because in the whole situation, it is very open-ended in the manner of communication between the parties and how the digital proof was seen via email or whether through some other mode. So I believe email is of less importance here. The party could have communicated about the delay through other modes.
So let's do a show of hands. Thank you, Gitanjali. How many people believe that Spark Events has a stronger case? That's 1, 2, 3. Anyone virtually believes that Spark Events has a greater chance of winning? Okay, Gitanjali, 4. Rekha, 5. Dinesh, 6. Okay. How many people believe that the small local print shop has a... So you've got 6 for Spark Events. How many people believe that the local print shop has a better chance of winning? Virtually? Dr. Dere. Anyone else? No? How many people believe it doesn't matter who has a better chance of winning?
It could be 50.
Anvit, Shivana, Sheila, Dr. Dinesh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Virtually, Dr. David, is that your hand raised for the same thing? That you don't care, it doesn't matter? So 7, Mr. Chaturvedi 8, Gitanjali 9. Why do you think the third question made me chuckle and is important?
On a mediator's perspective.
To know
Yeah.
On
Yes.
a mediator's perspective.
From a mediator's perspective, it doesn't matter who has a higher chance to win or not. We are not meant to turn into lawyers. So this was a very smart side of the the 5 of you who didn't think that there's anyone, Mr. Chaturvedi as well, who said that it doesn't matter who wins or it doesn't matter whose side is heavier. And that is exactly, while everyone has great different insights on the approach, on how you're going to approach it. And of course, maybe when you're a mediator, you may feel, sorry, this has turned into a little mini class, but maybe you may feel that Spark Events has a higher power balance in the room, and that's okay to assess and go to the mediation with, which doesn't mean you're forming a bias or a judgment. It just means that you now know what strategies to invest in and how to invest in the strategies to ensure that both the parties are balanced as much as can be in the power symmetry. So before we go back to this answer, let's ask Mr. Srivastav, who has obviously missed the entire topic of discussion. Do you think Spark Events has a better chance of winning, or do you think the Little Print Shop has a better chance of winning?
I believe Spark has a better chance of winning.
Or do you think that it doesn't matter who has a better chance of winning?
Definitely Spark has a better chance of winning.
Okay, correct answer is it doesn't matter as a mediator.
No. Yeah.
That's fine. So that's the workshop. That's our first mediation workshop. We're going. If anyone has any questions or any conversations you would like to have a quick chat about for 15 minutes, otherwise I will go on to the next mini case study that we can have a conversation about.
You said something about neutrality here.
Yeah.
And we are forming a bias much before the case even started.
Yeah.
So how do you see whether neutrality is compromised or it is not compromised?
So most of the mediators believe that Spark Events has a better opportunity at winning, which is fine. What that means is that Spark Events has a higher power when they are entering the mediation room, because maybe they will have more evidence. But irrespective on who has more evidence, what matters is what both the parties want to do for the resolution. So it doesn't matter who has a bigger advantage. It just matters on it, despite having the bigger advantage, if Spark Events decides that they are happy to compromise and work towards a resolution, that's all that matters. So for you as a mediator, it's human nature to think that obviously it's an open and shut case. And that's fine, as long as you don't take that bias inside the room. Yes.
Okay, as an expert mediator, and you've been doing a lot, just for all of us, what could be the possible melting point for a situation like this, in your opinion? Could be possible.
When you say melting point, you mean where it could go south?
They could melting point means where they with a possible outcome.
The zone of possible agreement could be that for the next event, the printing shop could give a discount and print the brochures for Spark Events. They could agree that obviously we've got a digital footprint to say that we did in fact send the email. Of course, no one can blame technology, as we have seen today as well, unfortunately. Technology is in no one's hands. It doesn't matter what a great technology is. So if we all reach on that sort of agreement, Spark Events, while being at an advantage to say that, can just argue saying, okay, fine. Yes, we needed the brochures printed by the 25th of October. Yes, you've got a digital print to say you had sent us an email. Perhaps we can reach a negotiation that we will pay half the price for this current bill. And at the next event, we will get a substantial discount. And if the printing shop wants their business to further, because 500 brochures is a big amount, they may agree to it. It could also go south if the printing shop adamantly says that yes, as mentioned by some of our virtual attendees as well, that what you see on your computer screen varies per computer, because the color that, for example, an Apple MacBook would show would be a very different color to a Windows laptop. And it would be very different to what it would physically print out as per the printer color. Also, it depends on what printer model you're using that prints out the blue that is being referred to in this case. If the printer shop really is adamant on that, then there's going to be a blockage that is going to be reached. The whole point is any resolution reached it could go in any direction depending on what questions you as a mediator ask in the room. It is purely dependent on how important you make the parties realize the resolution of the dispute is to them. So if Spark Events, which is a small event company, has the time to waste on litigation, they will not resolve the dispute. If the mediator can't be bothered to ask the correct questions in the mediation room, there will be no resolution to dispute. So it is purely about helping the parties explore their partners and their partners. And that's how they will reach their zone of possible agreement. Yes.
As you have suggested from the point of view of the mediator, whether this particular idea or innovative idea, I must say, whether it will be promulgated or will be issued by the mediator giving this suggestion, because this never struck my mind while mediating, that this could be one of the possible solutions. Whether this resolution or this solution will come from either of the party or the claimants, or it will be given by the mediator, that this could be one of the possible solutions by prefacing, changing the question session and giving them the idea. So what would be from the mediator's role, whether this idea will come out from the mediator, this could be one of the possibility of settlement.
I will give you my favorite recent example, which I have used in some mediation trainings and I haven't in some. And sorry, Gitanjali, I'm going to use the Nutella jar example again. I'm saying sorry to Gitanjali because she thinks about Nutella every time I talk about it. But so think about a Nutella jar. Everyone knows what Nutella is, the chocolate spread. When you think about Nutella jar, think about someone who's come to a dispute and Nutella jar is the main topic of discussion. So now the disputing party is saying that I want to remove the Nutella from the jar with my hand. I want to use my hand. And there is no other option available to me. I want to use a hand. The other party is saying that I don't understand the concept. Why are you using your hand? Now, it's from a mediator's question standpoint is, can I suggest that he can use a spoon? You don't have to say, why don't you use a spoon? You can simply say, have you thought about using a cutlery? Because that option is publicly available to everyone. The idea of giving a discount for a business is available to everyone. So you're not saying that, why don't you give a discount? You're saying, have you thought about discount? How would that impact your business? Now, the local print shop could say, no, I can't afford the discount. And then we can go back to whatever they can afford. But that's the way you suggest to say, have you thought about using a cutlery to pull it out of the Nutella? Why don't you want to use the cutlery? Why is it important to you? And that's where the question of interests and needs comes into play. Okay.
One more question. As a mediator, right, we are not going to make any decision or making any resolution, right? It's up to both the parties, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, right, what kind of role mediator is going to play in this scenario?
Facilitation. Does anyone from virtually have any questions or any thoughts? No? Okay, so we've got, I think they're starting on lunch, correct? In 10 minutes?
Yeah. In a bit, yeah.
Yeah, in 10 minutes. It's scheduled for 12:30. So what I will do is I will start the discussion for the next case study and leave that for a little food of thought so that everyone can go around and have this conversation. Some of you may know the answers because it's possible that we've discussed it during your mediation training, and that's something that you may suggest. But let's see on where the consensus rests at the end. And this question is for Dr. Raj as well. So it's not on the slide, so it's fine. So the question is very simple. There are two siblings who are fighting over inheritance, over property. So the younger brother took the older brother to court for a property that the older brother never knew was under his name. So the older brother, when it went to court, realized that actually this property belongs to me and has now said that I will go with the court's decision and keep the property to myself and not share it with the younger brother. The question here for everyone, virtually and in person, is can this dispute be mediated? And why? So let's start with you, Dr. Raj. Can this dispute be mediated and why?
Of course, there is nothing to say that any case cannot be mediated. Everything can be mediated, whether it gets resolved or not. But as a mediator, we always like to see the success of that. That mediation should give the successful outcome. So yes, in this matter, it's very obvious that it can go for the mediation, and this particular dispute can be resolved only by mediation in place of going for the litigation to play for years together, and there is nothing just to discuss and come to the conclusion. So I think the mediation is the right choice for this particular dispute.
What about you, Dr.
I
Prasad?
100% agree. Of course, they can go to court, the last option, but mediation is the best choice, can be resolved. And mediation definitely can help them resolving the situation, because the brother who has got like the will, of course, but the will, he has got the property. It'll go to court. Definitely, it's going to give judgment in his favor. So, but as a mediator, we can provide a platform where both brother can have amicably discuss and share and agree to maintain the relationship with them. Remember, their brothers, solve the problem through mediation.
Okay, what about you, Mr. Shrivastava?
Yes, it can be mediated.
Yeah.
And what as Dr. Raj has mentioned, the valid points. Definitely, rather than going to the court and getting into an ugly litigation, mediation could be a way to sort out. Otherwise, we always have an option, as Dr. Manoj said. Go to the court. Court is always open if nothing works out.
Virtually, what do you think, Dr. Dele? Can this inheritance dispute be resolved in mediation?
Yes, of course, it can be, because in order to maintain the peace, harmony, and the brotherly relations, and to ensure that you see family continues, so instead of washing the dirty linen in public, so it's a better avenue for them to settle this dispute and peacefully, amicably share this property, instead of continuing, you see, or harping on the authenticity of the will or otherwise. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm guessing everyone is in agreement that this dispute can be resolved. What if, let me throw a curveball here, there was no dispute because it was the younger brother who created the dispute, because the older brother never knew that this property was under dispute. The older brother, after the father's death, was carrying on as normal. So there was no dispute in effect to fight over the property. And again, there is no right or wrong answer, because I too am searching for the correct answer. There was no dispute because it was created by the younger brother. Only then was it discovered that actually this property is going to be disputed. Can it still be mediated?
Yes.
If elder brother is not having any concern about that whatever the things are there, so there is no dispute. But if there is any dispute, if there is any question from the elder one and younger doesn't want to answer that, he doesn't want to disclose that what exactly has been written, in that situation, of course, it can go for the mediation. It says civil dispute and it can go for that. But I'm not very clear to your question that what exactly that the elder brother doesn't know and what younger brother.
I believe that this dispute is not a mediation dispute because the younger brother wanted the property for his own claim.
Mm-hmm.
And he did not have the idea of sharing. So there was no thought that you can explore in mediation that why don't you share the property? The younger brother wanted it for himself. Then it went to court and the court awarded it to the older brother. And then the older brother said, now that I found out it is my property, I no longer want to share it. So in my opinion, it is not something that is mediatable because there was no conflict to begin with until it reached the court.
Yeah.
No. Yes and no. Because younger brother, definitely his intention was not very clean.
Yeah.
He wanted to hide that information. It went to court. Only the brother got to know that property, he owns the property. So definitely a younger brother will be upset. and he will try to create rugged. So that only way older brother can agree for mediation. Otherwise, older brother has no right to even entertain him.
Yeah.
But yes, to maintain the family values, keep the family intact. He would like to go for mediation, and maybe with his all goodwill gesture or his kindness, he can give him some share.
What do the virtual delegates think? Dinesh, what do you think?
This is a family matter. I want to say that this is a family matter. I think it is mutually agreed between brothers, not taking into any court or other medicine like this. It is set on the table and distribute all the property as they agree.
Okay, thank you so much. We're going to now break for lunch for a quick. Yes, Adavi.
Also, we think of the culture. Because my dad had 9 children, and the property was put in the name of the oldest one. That's my senior sister.
Without giving personal information.
Sorry. Yeah, if somebody has they were given to the first one, because why they do that is because they feel that naturally they put the first one's name and they expect her to share with the other. So it's culture. That doesn't mean that it belongs to the person.
That's a fair point. That's a good understanding point. Thank you. So thank you so much. We're going to break for lunch.
Can you speak what Adabi has explained?
Yeah, what Adabi has said is that based off of culture, sometimes the parents would leave the property, like in her culture, to the oldest sibling, not with the presumption that the oldest sibling is naturally going to distribute it with all the other siblings equally, not with the presumption that it belongs to the older sibling. It is just to say that now, as the oldest in the household after the parents have died, the cultural responsibility has been passed down to the oldest, more responsible one. So it could also be that based off of the culture, there is no claim for the oldest sibling to say, actually, since it's in my name, it belongs to me and I'm not going to share it with my younger sibling anymore. That's what Adavi's point was. Okay. Thank you so much. We will see each other after another 40 minutes.
Our very senior speakers are coming.
After 40 minutes, we are going to have Mr. Peter Costin,
and as many questions you can ask.
Mr. Tony Buon. They're all going to be our keynote speakers after lunch. Lunch is going to end at 1:30 British Standard Time. It's 12:30, so 1 hour exactly after 1 hour. Okay, thank you so much. Please feel free to grab lunch and drinks, and we can all celebrate our lunch together.
I worked with a few of the blue chip investment bank, like I started my career with HSBC Bank.
Sorry about that, give me 2 seconds.
And Barclays Capital. I was heading Barclays for Asia, Middle East, Africa.
Thank you.
Running the policies also. And then I joined Morgan Stanley. I was running Morgan Stanley for Asia, Middle East, Africa, based out of Dubai. And now, after doing this, I've done one course with the mediation. Normally, we do mediation. We used to, in a banking career, we used to do mediation all the time. But without realizing, without being qualified and without being experienced in mediation, normally you solve the problem to colleagues. And that was also part of mediation. But after doing a course with Radanks on mediation, I gained more confidence, more knowledge, and I felt I could have done much better negotiation, but better, mediation would have done, rather than imposing, no, this you are wrong and you are wrong, you are right. That's what you do in the normal course of life, but that's not the mediation. That's imposing the order. Here, mediation is the very right way, and I think mediation is very, very important. The practice in our day-to-day life, or even to maintain a good relationship, cordial relationship, then getting into a very sour relationship, because justice, litigation or court is not a good end. It never ends with a good thing between two relationships. So I will always suggest people should choose mediation over the court or litigation as a first preference. If it doesn't resolve, then you have no option but to go to the court. So mediation is, I will always support and promote mediation as a first option to resolve any dispute between two parties. And yeah.
Thank you so much. Mr. Someshwar, quick brief introduction about yourself and your love for mediation while we just wait for the tech team to set up.
Hello, everyone, and welcome, Professor Button. Good to see you here. I've heard a lot about you from Dr. Raj. Well, a brief about me. I'm a career Swiss banker for almost 22 years now. I live and work in Switzerland. So I started my career throughout with Swiss banks, with the Julius Baer, UBS, banks like Mirabeau and all. And I'm a certified CMC mediator, thanks to Radanks. I've done my course from here. And in my line of industry, mediation in financial disputes, there are very plenty of things. And it does help to me a lot in bringing this to the practice, what I have learned here. Thank you.
Thank you. Shakti?
I think we're set up now. I think we're...
Perfect.
Okay. Can you see the slide okay?
I'm so sorry. We will do a quick round of discussion. Because inevitably we will have technological difficulties. So let's start with Tony Vaughan. No, I'm only joking. So everyone, this is Tony Vaughan. He is one of our longest family members of the Radanks family. He's a trainer and assessor for Radanks. And I will leave it to him to introduce himself and give us a short presentation. Welcome.
Thanks, Adama. Can you see my slides? Because I'm getting a weird picture here. You can see me and the slide?
Yes, we can.
Like a little mini me? That's good. Yeah, the fun of technology, isn't it lovely, everyone? Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here today and an honor. And my name is Professor Tony Vaughan. I'm Professor Emeritus at the International Center for Research into Education and Work. I've been a mediator for over 35 years, and I've trained almost 3,000 mediators worldwide in 27 countries, and I'm a psychologist by profession. So I'm going to be talking to you briefly today, just a short 10-minute presentation about something that's dear to my heart, and that is the topic of why mediators need professional training. I think they don't. You see, professional mediation training is not optional. It's ethical. It separates the well-intentioned amateur from the competent professional. If we want mediation to stand shoulder to shoulder with law, medicine, psychology, science, we must stop apologizing for insisting on standards. Otherwise, we remain the hobbyists of human conflict. Look, many people become professional mediators. They come from all corners of professional life: law, psychology, human resources. People often get into workplace mediation, counselors and social work and coaches. And often it's because they're tired of seeing conflict mishandled and they want to do something more constructive than winning, diagnosing, or managing conflict. And of course, some also come to expand on their practice or to gain a new revenue stream, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, and this is the big but, each profession brings gifts and baggage. The myth of transferable skills is seductive but dangerous. You see, a legal or therapeutic mindset can pull a mediator into the danger zones of advocacy, diagnosis, investigation, or control. And all four of those are fatal to the central tenet of mediation, which is neutrality. You see, lawyers argue cases. Mediators manage conflict and focus only on agreement. I've seen brilliant barristers and judges become terrible mediators because they couldn't stop winning. I've seen therapists sabotage mediation by overemphasizing or not being able to control the nod that they did in therapy when they're agreeing with someone. Doesn't work too good when there's two parties in the room and you're nodding at each person as one of them says the other one's a right idiot. HR professionals enforce policy and investigate. Mediators do neither. They foster autonomy. Psychologists interpret and diagnose. Again, something we have to train psychologists who become mediators not to do, and it's really hard because mediators listen without analyzing. And that's a very, very, very specialist type of listening. I've written extensively. One of my best-selling books was on listening, and it's very hard to explain to people how active listening is not something you teach to a mediator. Far from it. And again, something you do teach to managers, to counselors, to social workers, doctors. Mediators and coaches may want to become a mediator, but they motivate, they guide. Mediators stay neutral. And counselors encourage healing. Mediators facilitate decision-making. We're not about healing. Healing might happen, but it's not part of our agenda. And finally, transferable skills can mislead, and expertise without neutrality is advocacy, something we are not about. Now, part of this is unlearning the hidden curriculum. Mediation demands intellectual humility, and that's the biggest barrier I found when training mediators. I would say that almost 50% of people who I've trained in the past cannot be mediators, even though they're great professionals, because they could not get into that area of intellectual humility. Maybe their years of training have taught them not to be humble. There's a shift from expert to facilitator. Sorry, that shift from expert to facilitator is unsettling. It's troubling. And by the way, if you're not troubled during your mediation training, you've got bad training. You should feel uncomfortable for every one of the hours. Listening without rescuing or persuading or judging is a special type of listening. Now, true neutrality is uncomfortable, particularly if you've been trained to fix things or you have a personal inclination to fix things. Both of those are going to stop you being a good mediator. The complexity of human communication when it involves multiple parties is challenging enough. In mediation, it multiplies. Now, in professional mediation training, discomfort is a training goal. Keep that in mind when you judge training, when you look for training, when you evaluate your own training. I had a very experienced lawyer, 20 years of practice in the courts, excellent communicator. She came on mediation training and she told me she'd been on another mediation course. She got accredited. She'd done 40 hours of training. And you know what happened? She never learned how to mediate. She just learned some tricks, some techniques. She had no idea how to actually get people towards agreement, how to get them to understand neutrality. And she said, when she was on the training, she came to me, which was a second attempt. She said she felt uncomfortable every single day of the training, and that's a good thing. You know, we're trying to build a credible profession here. That's what this conference that the Radanks have done is about. You see, mediation is a discipline, not a sideline. It's not just a new income stream. Public trust depends on standards. Every time an untrained or poorly trained mediator mishandles a case, it isn't just one dispute that collapses, it's our collective credibility. Mediation deserves the same rigor we expect from any profession involving humans. You know, I started my mediation work in Australia over 30 years ago, and Australia often led the world in mediation. But only recently there's a TV show, a comedy show, where on the show, a lawyer decides to become a mediator. And it's a hugely comical storyline. It's lasted through 2 seasons. And this woman is doing this weird training and is messing up things. I mean, it's called Finch, by the way, the show. It's very funny to watch. But when I spoke to one of the people who were one of the producers, they said to me, yeah, that's how mediation's seen. It's seen as a bit of a joke. Why? Some of you might have remembered the dreadful TV show that was shown in the United Kingdom about 5 years ago, showing family mediation. And it was so embarrassing to watch, partly because the mediators honestly didn't know what they were doing. Poor mediation harms the profession. Training is about competence and ethics. Without both, you're not a profession. So never apologize for demanding excellence. Never apologize for lengthy training that's not cheap. You know, it doesn't have to be overly priced. And obviously in certain countries, I do pro bono work in Africa, you know, where people struggle to pay for certain amounts. And look, you know, we can discuss that later, but quality costs. And we don't want untrained mediators or poorly trained mediators. So in conclusion, and I'm happy to answer questions at the end of this, but what does professional mediation training actually look like? Training isn't about attending a weekend workshop or collecting a certificate. It's about developing reflexes, intellectual, emotional, and ethical reflexes. And they only emerge through structured practice and critical reflection, through uncomfortable training. We need to start by connecting to recognized standards and accreditation frameworks. If you're in England and Wales, it's the Civil Mediation Council. Here in Scotland, I live in Edinburgh, in Scotland. Here it's the Scottish Mediation Association, who accredit training. That's what you need, whether it's international accreditation or country-based accreditation. But that accreditation framework is what everything sits on. And if it's not rigorous, the profession will collapse. And I've seen this happen in other fields, including coaching, for example, where there are so many accreditation bodies, it becomes a bit of a joke. And you have people who do 500 hours of training and people who do a weekend training course and call themselves coaches. We don't want to get into that area. Radanks training is CMC accredited, it's 45 hours, and that is, by the way, the minimum. You know, 45 hours is by far the minimum. And for 45 hours, it's really important that only the right people get on that course who have a set of existing skills. So that shouldn't be 45 hours for someone who's being made redundant from a call center and decides that they're going to become a mediator to make money because some organization's flogging it on the internet and they've got no background or training. That's 45 hours on top of a lifetime of experience. So there should be entrance requirements. There has to be assessment. And again, not just assessed at the level of the accreditation body's requirements, because sometimes they're not good enough. It has to be beyond that. And it should be focused on practical skills development. The woman I talked about before, who had been on one of the major UK training courses, and she said at the end of it, she didn't know how to mediate, didn't know how to use a flip chart, didn't understand about proxematics and distance between parties. She didn't understand about neutrality properly. So it needs to, this is a skill, by the way. Mediation is a skill. And it needs to be grounded, though, in theory, ethics, and reflective practice. We need to know when we can't mediate. We need to know which parties we can't mediate with. We need to know our unconscious biases and how they impact on what we're doing. We need to know how our body language reacts. I was working with a mediator recently because I supervise mediators, experienced mediators, and this mediator was having enormous problems with a very difficult case. And what was coming across was that one of the parties was very credentialed, holding 2 PhDs and other degrees, very professional person. The other person had left school at a young age, and the mediator themselves was an educated, credentialed person. And what was coming across was an unconscious bias towards the professional person, which they didn't pick up. But believe me, the other person who was experiencing that bias did, and that was affecting the mediation. That's the type of reflection that's needed. But we also need practical skills development with supervised simulations. You know, mediation is something you get better at the more you do. 3, 4, 5 mediations is not enough. You know, I would say I didn't become a good mediator until my 250th mediation. That's when I reckon I became a good mediator. It wasn't at the beginning. Sure, I got better, but I don't feel that I got to the level of a pure professional until I'd done it for many years. And that's okay. Now, the training should emphasize neutrality because that's the cornerstone. Process, management. How do you handle parties? Where do you move them? Where do you sit them? If you're not spending an hour before a mediation thinking about the room setup, where you put a pencil, where you have chairs, how windows and lighting is going to affect, you're not doing the job. It's important to have self-awareness. You need to know your limitations because remember, there's this great humility that's needed. And that's hard because a lot of the people I know get into mediation are not humble people. I'm not. But I have to turn on my humility when I'm in mediation. By the way, that same humility may not apply to other types of workers. As a barrister told me a few weeks ago, you know, he can't be humble in court. The judge won't listen to him. The parties won't be influenced. So he found it really hard to turn that off because he'd been doing it for 15 years. So finally, professional mediation training has structured feedback, assessment, ongoing supervision, and many, many hours of training followed up by effective ongoing professional development. Again, different mediation bodies require an amount of CPD. I don't think CMC requires enough. Scottish mediation requires more, and so people are required to attend a lot of CPD. In the United States, I run CPD for mediators, but every state has it different. In one state of America, you don't need any. In another, you need to have accredited CPD, so many hours of ethics training, ongoing training, and completing logs. You know, that's not a great profession. We need global proper standards here. And hopefully a conference like this, which is looking at the cross-border issues, can move towards that. So anyway, you've had the presentation from me today about mediation. And remember, professional mediation training is not optional, it's ethical. It separates the well-intentioned amateur from the competent professional. And I want to thank you for listening to me today, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Tony, does anyone in the room have any questions? Yes, Bram.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, presentation. On the question of standards, it's quite interesting because I'm in the area of technology assisted dispute resolution. Used to be called and still is called online dispute resolution, but that's too vague, and I'll be talking today about why I say that. But we've now have suddenly got standards for online dispute resolution, whereas we don't have standards for core mediation itself. This year, I hosted a conference on online dispute resolution and online mediation in London earlier this year.
I'm only getting the last. I only heard. It's obviously a broadband internet. There you go. It's funny we're talking about technology standards. I got the first part.
Well, of course, at mediation we have to learn. We have to help the parties listen to the other parties as well as the mediator. And with all this technology, it's all about making sure people aren't muted. But there are all sorts of But the point I'm saying is, I was able to announce at the conference that an ISO has been issued now, ISO 32122, which is specific to online dispute resolution, which itself will incorporate, there are different ways of resolving, and people practice in different ways, and sometimes it's not always with or operated through a mediator. Not always, but a lot of it is. In fact, a lot of people felt after COVID and then the discovery of Zoom, etc., that they could save their mediation practices by going online and thinking that is ODR, whereas, as I'll be explaining today, it's a whole lot more. But there is also the Council of Europe, the Council of Europe has presented their own set of standards for online dispute resolution, and that was a couple of years back. I think was before the Council's Legal Affairs and Human Rights.
Look, I think I got most of that. There was some breaking up of the signal. I hope I'm not breaking up. It's funny because we're talking about now. You're absolutely right. I didn't mention the ISO standard. I think that's really important because at least it's an international standard. And the online thing, I think you mentioned this because it was something that would really disturb me during COVID, how mediation just went online with people who didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
That they were somehow assuming that online mediation was the same as doing face-to-face. It's like online training, it's a completely different skill set. And the professional bodies, as far as I could tell, all of them globally were really poor in handling that. They didn't, require a certain amount of training or workshops. We offered them. Scottish Mediation did do some training, though they didn't make it compulsory. CMC by the way, CMC even allowed their training accreditation to go online. How ridiculous. So you had people who were trained in online mediation who are now working as face-to-face mediators. So I think that's very questionable, but I think I agree with most of what you said, although I didn't hear everything, and the camera's making me dizzy. Whoever's holding that is.
Dr. Deary has a question for you, Tony. Dr.
Please.
Please ask your question. Please put the camera on.
See the hand up, Dr. Kishore?
Yeah. Thank you, Professor, for sharing your very great insights. I just would like to know, because you said that the rigor must be there in the quality of mediator, and after more than 200 mediations, you thought that something was accomplished as a mediator. So would you mind sharing some of the highlights in that journey or evolution as what you consider as a good mediator? That is one question. And second question, that the inconsistencies, anomalies, or the contradictions that in the standards of mediation training or education that we encounter in day-to-day life in different parts of the world. So what can be the probable solution to that? Thank you.
Look, I think the first thing I could say is if we look at Malcolm Gladwell's idea of the 10,000 hour rule about you get to world-class expertise in anything, through many hours of work. And obviously the 10,000 hours was just a good way to sell a book, but there's a lot going for that, particularly in skills. And I think that, you know, getting experience is really important. One of the big problems for mediators is they get trained and they can't get mediation experience, partly because, you know, if I'm doing paid mediation, someone paying me doesn't want to have a student sitting in the room or a trainee. So I think, again, professional bodies, training bodies have to look at that, maybe using pro bono, you know, offering mediation through the courts at a low cost or free, through charitable bodies, NGOs. So experience. But for me, I think you've mentioned three things that I would say was part of my learning. One was understanding myself as a mediator, really understanding my biases, how I appeared to people, the way I talked, my language. The second was understanding how much mediation is practical. It's about knowing where you seat people. It's knowing the distance between people, moving chairs about, moving tables, moving rooms. One of the best mediations I ever did with a case that was almost seen as, you know, couldn't be ever resolved, involved myself and the other mediator taking both parties out into a garden in different directions and going for a walk for an hour and a half. And as we talked, we sat down under a tree and we came up with a solution. I never would have thought of that. You know, to me, it was always supposed to be formal. So I think being flexible, innovative, creative. You know, I did a mediation a few months ago when the parties came back. I took away all the chairs and they were standing there and they're looking at me like I'm mad. And I said, well, I'm not going to let you sit down because you guys are so far apart, you should feel uncomfortable. And, you know, that's dramatic, but it broke the impasse. So I think that's the second thing. And the third is what you mentioned is culturally. The real problem here is that conflict is related to culture. And I mean culture on all levels, religious, gender, nationality, occupation, all the different levels of culture. And that we need to be culturally trained as mediators as well to understand that what works in one place won't work in another. What works with one group of people, say working class people, doesn't work with people who are from the upper classes or people who are professionals. So I think that's the three big learning points for me. But thank you for that great question.
Thank you, Tony. Yes, Graham.
Well, just want to come back, Tony, what you said about the lack of experience. People go through training and then they're expecting they'll have cases. And I came across when I was in Vancouver a few years ago, we had a conference there, they had a wonderful idea and they'd started it through the local law society of providing a practicum course once people had been through training. And they did this by arrangement with the local courts who were, as ever, then, as they are now, overrun with cases. And they would give some of these cases, invite the people on the practicum course. They would have someone to observe them while they do it, but they would have real casework. They could create notches on their belt of experience. So when they're asked, how many cases have you done? They actually can say more of a few. But apparently, I'm very disappointed a few years later when I went back there to find that that course was no longer operational. But it sounds to me that that is a way forward because you can't, as I agree with you, you can't be a mediator if you haven't mediated.
Yeah, no, you're right. And also looking at universities, you know, here in Scotland, we have the Strathclyde Mediation Clinic at one of the universities, does a lot, you know, liaising more with community-based mediators and family mediators, you know, but yeah, it's an ongoing problem. I mean, and it does require some global consideration of how we can get mediators the experience to actually mediate, because it's tough out there. I mean, if I can't tell you, and I know most of you around the room have probably got the same thing, I get dozens of emails a week from people begging to come and co-mediate with me, you know, originally offering to do it for nothing. Some of them offering to pay me to have them co-mediate, but I can't do it. I can't, you know, if I mainly work on really complicated cases. I just mediated between the NHS and junior doctors. You know, I can't bring in a trainee mediator to that. It's just not feasible. I
can
wish it was.
understand, Tony. I will just interrupt you here. Basically,
Yeah.
those mediators who are already trained from some like organizations like Radanks, LSM, CEDAR, or anywhere, this is their responsibility also to give them this opportunity, because we are not only training, we are taking mediation services as well. And we are always there to offering them. But unfortunately, as you mentioned initially, that the mediators are just on the social media and all that, we can see that those who are not trained well, just in the name of being mediators, and they are nowhere to be, even if as a co-mediator also. So that's the very important point, that where we have to look forward, and we are more than happy to bring the co-mediators to join as in real mediation.
So we've got Gitanjali, Tony, who's got a question for you.
Okay, and I hate to have to leave, but I've only got about 5 minutes because I've got to go to another thing with some students.
I would be more than happy if you join.
Yeah, you can continue the discussion, but if there's a question for me, I'm happy to answer it.
I will be more than happy if you join little bit Graham Ross speak also, because his speech is also one of the very insightful. So Gitanjali, Rekha, and Kishore Dare, I would request you to hold your questions for some time. Let Graham Ross come on the board first.
Okay, and if you put it in the chat, I can probably try answering there. And I'm happy to connect with you online on LinkedIn or whatever. But thank you very much for allowing me to speak at this international conference hosted by Radanks, and good luck with the rest of the day, everyone. It's my pleasure to talk to you, and I'll send a copy of my presentation to Adma in case anyone wants a copy of that. Thank you, everyone.
Tony,
Bye-bye.
please hang on for 5 minutes if that's okay. Just to hear a little bit on Graham's presentation is what.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Thank you, Tony, for that really insightful presentation, and thank you for being, as always, a lovely family member to Radanks. Now, IT is going to put forward Mr. Ross's presentation.
Graham, it's over to you now.
Yes, okay. Do you want me to come forward, or you want me to sit?
Fine, you can sit there, you can stand at the front, it's totally up to you.
No, that's
It's okay, you can.
Right. So you're pulling the slides up, okay. Well, while the slides are coming up, I'll just introduce myself. So, I'm a retired solicitor, but I practice as a mediator and also negotiator. So sometimes I don't actually formally mediate in the sense that I'm acting for both sides, but helping one, and I specialize in shareholder disputes. That's the only disputes that I do, because these days, unfortunately, so many people go into businesses with people they don't really know. They've met them in some business networking meeting, or somebody's looking to invest in the next big thing, and they can quickly fall out. And even when I'm only acting for one side, I obviously use mediation techniques and whatever. But the thing that I'm heavily involved in and have been for over 25 years, means the last century, was the application of technology. So just before, I think it was about 1998, Professor Ethan Cash at the University of Massachusetts first coined the phrase online dispute resolution, which has begun to become less descriptive of, and too generic, if you like, as we come to see. And set up the National Centre for Technology and Dispute Resolution, which is largely recognized as the leading body. I'm a fellow of that centre, and every year we have a major international two-day conference. I was honoured with hosting one in Liverpool about 15 years ago, and this year in London. We had experts all around the world on that. That we developed when we were in Paris a few years ago, the International Council for Online Dispute Resolution, which I would urge everybody interested in the application of technology to resolution, whether it's mediation or other forms of resolution, to join that body. I was a founder director of that body. I had the privilege to be invited on a working party by the Civil Justice Council to look into the developments of online dispute resolution in the court process. That was chaired by Professor Richard Susskind, who's has for many years was the IT advisor to the Lord Chief Justice, has now slightly segued into a similar role for the Commonwealth countries. And we were asked to provide a report on how we see the developments of online dispute resolution in smaller value claims, small claims. And we produced a report in 2015, and I'm pleased to say that led to the opening of the current online money claim court.
Your slides are on.
Yes. Sorry, what was that? Oh, the slides up. Yeah, thank you. I'll just quickly finish this background, if you like. And then the following year, I was invited onto another Civil Justice Council working party looking at making mediation mandatory in small claims. We now have a mandatory system, although I would imagine almost all mediators would share with me the concern that the people doing the mediation are not independently trained in mediation. They're court staff, and they're charged with mediating over the telephone in about 1 hour or 2 hours. I don't think you need to say any more than that to realize that this is not likely to be a very successful form of mediation, but at least it's there. At least it gets that word there. What worries me about the word mediation, you talk to people and they all have different views about it, of course. Most people would say, well, that's something you go through when your marriage breaks up, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, of course, that's a major area of it, but that's just one area of it. Anyway, and so I've been giving talks and writing on the subject over the years. Can we go back to this first slide? You're probably wondering, why is that word in red, augmented? Surely we're talking about artificial intelligence. And I'll come back to that in a second. But if we could just go on to the next slide. I think there are only two things that I want you to consider here about positioning the place of technology within the process of dispute resolution, whether mediation or otherwise. And that is, I hope to explain and show you with examples of systems that the way forward is not so much artificial. Yes, we can all, and I've done it, and it's quite amazing what ChatGPT can do in the sense that you can feed in all the facts about a case, all the facts about the party's interest. I like to approach mediation from an interest-based point of view. Not everybody does, and sometimes if you look at the interests of the party, like the people in business in a supply chain to continue for years to do business together, far more important than winning a case in court because the customer hasn't paid for this last delivery, and that's looking at things beyond the dispute. But anyway, it's what's more important is augmented intelligence. How can technology help the mediator to do his work better? And that's the exciting area. And that helps allay fears, of course, of the robot mediator. Can technology actually do the work of a mediator? Well, when, as we listening to what Tony was saying, when we think about the varying standards of mediation, I think you can be fairly safe in saying certainly technology can do a better mediation, a better result than some mediators. But of course, it is a human skill. And I don't think we are safe in thinking that it's not going to take our work away. Certainly for new mediators or mediators trying to build their casework and experience up, they're not going to get the big cases at the beginning. Be grateful if you can get the small claims and the simple issues. And those are the ones that certainly technology would be able to at least map out what is being said to people and how to encourage parties to think about what is really in their interest. Surely it's not carrying on a dispute, etc. And then the other, if you like, qualification of words is what's important here is when we look at technology, is to see what is this digitalization and not just digitization. And the difference is digitization is simply doing what we already do, but doing it digitally. So asynchronous conversations in text, such as email exchanges, or many years ago, I built a platform where people could put their comments through. That's just digitization, and it's everywhere now. Everything we can do online. Digitalization is where the technology is more than that. It actually transforms the process and introduces processes, in this case, that can aid resolution, which I'm going to show you if I have time, is something new. And that's what we should be looking for. We want technology that will augment the skills of trained mediators and that will invent and help create new models that will actually bring something fresh and new to what it is. Next. I've already mentioned the ISO 32122. I mentioned, by the way, and the issues include transparency. What are the algorithms doing? And is there bias in that because of the nature of where the information is coming from? This is common with all technology. And is a regular use advantage? That's interesting because when the Council of Europe produced their standards for online dispute resolution, they noticed that one major problem is the regular use advantage. So if, for example, people working in a large warehouse of dispute resolution, they may be an insurance company, there may be somebody having to deal with dozens of complaints during the day. If they start to use an online dispute resolution system and invite the other party with the complaint into it, that person will have never used that system before, and he's only going to use it on one occasion, or maybe in years to come a second. Whereas the person operating the system on the other side is maybe doing 30, 40 cases a day. Therefore, is this giving the risk that the regular user will be able to game the system? We see gaming all over internet and technology users, and that's something that ISO has looked at, and also the European, the Council of Europe. I'm an observer for ICODA on something called the European Cyber Justice Network, which is not some body of techie companies. That is actually a body within the Council of Europe. The Council of Europe is a body of 47 countries throughout Europe. The UK is still a member of that. This is not Brexit. So there we are. We've talked about standards. We can move on. Yes, well, that's just the screen for the European Council of Europe's standards. If we can move on. Well, you have to be of a certain age, which I am, to remember this hit record from Fat Larry's band, Zoom, and my heart went boom. And of course, that's what happened before COVID. Mediators around the world were not that keen on ODR. There was all of us from the NCTDR in Massachusetts who were traveling around the world, getting people researching it and encouraging the benefits of it. But it wasn't really taking off with mediators. All of a sudden, they sort of stopped to their work, but then they realized that things like Zoom and all the other online platforms where they could actually carry on mediating, but without, they wouldn't lose the initiative of the work they were doing. And of course, they felt, if you mention ODR, they say, oh, I'm doing that. And I'm sorry, but mediating online through web conferencing is mediating the normal way. It's just that, but with the disadvantage, you're not in the presence of the parties, and one of the big disadvantages that is, you will be aware of certain aspects, but not everything. In fact, there are a number of problems with using Zoom. One of which came to light, I think, towards the end of last year. There's a system called Otter AI, which you can attach to Zoom, and I think there are now others. And this is a wonderful facility that transcribes the conversation and sends it out to everybody. The problem is it's a great threat to the duty of confidentiality that you as a mediator have, because what was happening is the algorithm was once the meeting was finished, send a copy to everybody who was invited onto this Zoom meeting. Now, what if the mediator invites both parties to a general meeting, first of all, at the beginning, and it turns out that one of the parties doesn't turn up to the actual meeting? The mediator is not thinking through this and has not been warned, might turn that into a private caucus meeting. In other words, what we can say now as only you here, there's certain things that this conversation I will not refer to the other party unless you ask me to and you give me specific authority, and maybe I will guide you into what you should allow me to mention to the other party. And of course, if he doesn't realize that Otter is sitting in the background there, suddenly that meeting, which was a private meeting, gets sent to the other party. He's breached his mediation duties and his confidentiality. These are the dangers. You may say, well, he's using his own machine. No, because a lot of people might go into an office and use a system that somebody else has set up, and that's why he doesn't know about Otter AI. The other thing is I don't like about Zoom is the caucus meetings. Now, of course, in person, there's nothing wrong with both sides. Parties may be asked to leave the room while there's a private conversation. The other party will sit outside somewhere. You can see the room. You can see, he knows they're having a conversation. You can't hear anything. That's fine. Now, in Zoom, you can do this, of course. You've got virtual rooms and you can send people to the different rooms. But I sort of feel that if you just say, please go into this room, I'll call you in when I'm ready to, in other words, when the other caucus meeting finishes, that's not a great feeling for the person who's online in his house or wherever familiar, not actually in the same building. I just feel, this is what I would do, that instead of saying, I'll come back to you when I finish this meeting, let's schedule a meeting tomorrow or in a couple of hours. So the person isn't left thinking what's being said in this other virtual room. So these are just some thoughts on this. Yes, if we could go back to that. So I talk about real ODR. Yeah, can't read my writing here. Right, well, I said it can be. I've really gone through those sort of problems with it. Yes. So for various reasons, these problems, it's not so much real. If you can move on again to the, okay. We just move on to the next screen. Well, I've already just talked about that. And right, so augmented intelligence. I'm going to actually show you a couple of examples of what I mean by this. If we go again, so there are two systems developed by a company called Smart Settle, that I advise. One is what I would call anonymous negotiation, the other is blind negotiation. So anonymous is where proposals for settlement are shared, but you don't know necessarily come from. It could be from the other party, or because of the technology, or it could be from a lawyer representative, or, and this is the interesting thing, it could be it's a suggestion by the machine. And by allowing for the fact that you don't know whether it comes with the person or the machine, and as I will show you, it's a system where the machine learns the interests of the parties. That then removes the bias, isn't it? I mean, you know, that first problem as a mediator must come across is that people adopted to go into it on the basis, well, whatever offer comes from him, I'm never going to accept it. So that removes bias. And then the other side of it is blind negotiation or blind bidding. And that's where you know who's making the counter offers, but you don't know what they are. And I'll show you what I mean by these. And these are two very good examples. That's the anonymous negotiation. Yes, you move on because I've just spoken about that. And then these both do things differently to the way one would do things in person. If we can just move on, well, it'll show you a little example of how this operates. Now, it's just, if you just leave it at that point, it's a little self-running screen. The bid in black on the top, the right-hand side is one party, the left-hand side is another party. And this is where they're using Smart Settle 1, which is a form of visible and blind bidding to reach an agreement. The black section is a movement which is visible as an offer to the other party. The bids on the lower half are not seen. And what actually happens is they go through rounds of bidding, and if they, first of all, if they overlap, and in fact, from a study that was done in India with the law school at the Pravin Gandhi University in Mumbai, using this system, I'll show you the results of that. It's amazing how many times agreement was reached in role-play cases, to be fair. But this system, if they overlap, first of all, in the blind bids, it then will declare, because of the agreement when it was set up, a settlement, and not at the midpoint. The settlement will be closer to the benefit of the party who made more effort to resolve the dispute. And you may say, well, how does it know who makes more effort? Well, usually it is when they go into the zone that they overlap, whichever party made the smaller move had obviously made more effort to get into that zone of possible agreement. So that's how that operates, as a way of, you know who is negotiating with you, but you don't know exactly how much is offered. And the thing about this is, we all know the situation about sitting on offers, and that people like to think they're good negotiators. They will make an offer, and if it's rejected, they'll say, well, that's my final offer. I'm not going to go any further with you. And that's how days and weeks can go by and the costs mount up, etc. And whether they have mediation usually take place on one day, of course, or not. With this, there is no reason why you should delay making further movement and further effort to try and solve it. You know that if you just push this thing a little bit further, you really want to settle this. It's costing you a lot in court. With this, there's no reason to sit on it you manage. So as you'll see, I think I've got a screen of some publicity for a case I did where, yes, we can move on. Yeah, this is a point that I also found of an advantage, reversing the bid. Imagine you're an insurance company insuring a driver who's come out of a side road and caused an accident. The last thing you want is this case to go to court. It's 100% liability. The person you insured is 100% liable for that. And it's just about agreeing the amount of damages. And there's a battle goes on because the claimant lawyers will want to get it into court, be too cynical about it, because the fee is to be earned out of that. The insurance company just wants not. And in fact, the insurance company could find that paying above normal value for a claim early when costs are low is less costly overall to them than fighting it out in court and getting a lower settlement. Now, because these bids are blind, it gives the opportunity for the insurance company, if at first there is no settlement, they could bid high to begin with in the hope it will be a settlement when there aren't any costs that they have to, because they will have to pay all the costs. So they could try that out. And if it doesn't work, they can reverse their bid. And nobody knows that they at one stage. So these technologies are going to open up all these new techniques. People need to train. Little advert, I do train people in ODR, not in mediation, but mediators in applying these technologies. And I'm sure there are more to develop as they go through. Can you move on a bit? So these are the takeaways. Read my writing on this, more or less what I've been speaking about. Yes. Can you move on again? This is what I mentioned about a little role play study last year, or was it a year before, in May 2023. And by the way, we've had 2 conferences in India in the recent years. And this is in conjunction with the law department, the law school, students were allocated roles and they used the blind bidding system, Smart Settle 1, and they came up with a settlement rate on the system of 62%. Now, most mediators will repeat the 80%, another 80%, not the 80-20, but most will claim that they're getting an 80%, which is probably the case with most mediators. It depends what area of work they're dealing with. But still, 62% for quickly resolving without the more traditional forms of mediation is very attractive. The 85%, well, the system in question where people can't, and by the way, if people are close but have an overlap, the part of the system will help guide them and give them an opportunity to settle that in that point. But also, if they still don't, it can go to what's called the end process, expert neutral decider, which is like MEDAR in a sense, that somebody will, essentially there are 3 people on the panel, they will be told all the details of the case and they will be, and this only works of course with disputes over a sum of money. More than that, then the infinity applies there. And that managed to increase the settlement to, or the terminate, or the conclusion to 85%. Can we move on, please? So I'll now just talk about the second one. This is where I said that offers are transparent, but you don't know who they come from. They could be developed by the machine. It's going to be very hard to show this in full detail, but if you just, I can talk through it.
Next slide.
Yes, okay. If you could just go make that a bit smaller. Well, anyway, there are the main point of the left hand and the right hand of that screen what it's showing is this is an employment case. The 4 lines on the top left-hand side represent aspects of a settlement, sections of a package that would amount to a settlement. So the parties agree that there's a fixed, it is an unfair settlement. The parties agree that in any settlement, there'll be a basic award, there'll be a compensation award, there may be a commitment over a form of reference. Let's see that last one. But you work out what would a settlement look like in this dispute? And there are so many elements. In the right-hand side is where proposals, packages to settle are included and agreed in advance. The parties are then invited to enter variations by sliding on the various horizontal lines on the left-hand side. So the left-hand side, the different elements, how much for compensation, and all that. And to say what is the most, what is the best settlement deadline, what is the lowest, but which I'd find acceptable, and what's a nice fair medium. And that's there to inform the machine something about the priorities that the parties have for all of those elements. And then each party are invited to put packages into the system. They have the choice that the other side can see them, or they can, can see that they come from them, or not, or it's hidden. It's anonymous, and that's where a lot of strength of these systems can work. That means it could be it's been put together by the other party, or, as I said before, it can be put together by the machine. So you can actually ask the machine, will you come up with... Now, the machine knows the interests of both sides. And when a proposal from one party that's on the table is accepted by the other, it then announces a provisional settlement. I say provisional because there is then an option, if there's anything left on the table, as they say, if there's any settlement that gives something more to each side, and it then will come up with that improved settlement. But you see the options it gives people to actually say, here's my offer, or to put in a system, or to get the system to, well, actually, the system to suggest something, or for the the other party to think it is from the machine, not by the party. So that's Smart Settle Infinity. If we could move on a few screens, because, right, okay. So I've explained most of this here, the benefits of that. We move on again. This was worrying. I mentioned about robot mediators. These are some legal journal reports, and also one from LexisNexis, refers to a case that I referred to the court using Smart Settle 1. And this case, which was only for about £2,500, a consultant's fee, a contractor's fees. It was in the small claims court, had gone through small claims mediation and failed. And I invited the parties, I showed them the system, and within an hour, they'd actually settle it themselves. It wasn't through mediation. I wasn't the mediator in this case. Although what is worrying, of course, that all of those, there's a headlines there about robot mediators. Look at this. This is a terrible thing. Although they weren't all that... You can go on to the next one. My final slide. Please contact me if you want any more information. Sorry for rushing through all of that, but I hope that was interesting.
Thank you.
Happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions in the room?
I have one question.
Yeah.
So the timeline, right? So between the employer and the whoever the disputer, right? So what would be the timeline? Take an example, employer, right?
How long it would take?
Yeah.
As quick as you want, as quick as the parties operate. I mean, Smart Centre, as I said, they just settled it within an hour. This is just when the argument is over money, obviously. That's the simple one. If we talk about infinity, again, that can take much longer. And that will work with, I mean, it's up to the mediator how far he sees that as helpful. You know, it'll take what it'll take. There's no, but it can be much quicker than the current methods as well. But these are just, it's important to make it clear that these are just some of the systems. There's another system called Next Level Mediation, and a few others that were displayed at the conference in London that I held earlier this year. And I can put people in touch. Incidentally, the Smart Settle ones, you can all register, there's no charge for that, and set up role play cases and play with it.
Yeah. So
very open approach.
That's depends on that as much as fast we can proceed for that. If any disputes are like this between the employee and employer, we have to just move forward. So it doesn't take much time to get it resolved. Yeah. So we can move to since we are running out of time, and we can move for another speaker.
Sure. We've now got Mr. Peter Corsons.
He is a barrister.
Unfortunately, Peter had a last-minute trial in court that he had to attend because he's a barrister and a judge. So he was unable to attend, even though he said that he was going to try his best. Evidently, he hasn't been able to. So Peter sent a short video, and Ankh is just going to play that video. Okay, so what we have next is I'm going to talk a little bit about what Radanks has in store for 2026. So in 2026, as Dr. Raj has already mentioned quite a few times, one of the biggest things that we're doing is we've recognized as international trainers, there is the need for launching the training course in different regional languages across the world, because we don't want language to be a barrier for you to be able to train to international mediation standards. So we are training mediators who are multilingual in different parts of the world's regional languages, and they will then proceed further as per Radanks international standards to carry forward the training across the world. That includes languages in Hindi, Marathi, Punjabi, to name a few from the Indian languages, Nigerian, and Dr. Raj, I always forget the languages that we are including. So I've said the ones that are at the top of my head. But yes, that would be the biggest thing that we're doing for 2026 and are working towards. Radanks will also be launching its pro bono mediation program because we recognize that at the moment, the entire world is facing a severe economic crisis and disputes are inevitable and ever growing. And we want to ensure that everyone feels comfortable to be able to resolve a dispute without having the fear and the burden of how much they need to pay to resolve a dispute. So we will be launching a pro bono mediation program in collaboration with CMC's already existing fixed fee scheme as well. We will be, of course, in addition to partnering with Suryadatta Institute and Asian Law College, we will be partnering with several more universities in the UK and abroad with the help of our educational associate, Dr. Dinesh Saraswat, who is also present during the conference. We will be partnering with firms in Nigeria to promote mediation through our Nigerian mediation ambassador, Adabi, who is also Adabi is actually, interestingly, a family mediator and a civil and commercial mediator. So she is going to be our Nigerian mediation ambassador. We will be partnering with schools in India and in the UK to promote peer mediation, because I truly believe as a mediator and as an educator that the root cause needs to be resolved, which means if we train people on how to use the tools of mediation, like Brown mentioned, that sometimes as a negotiator, he uses the mediation tools, the kids will be able to further that sense of conflict resolution in whatever aspect of life they choose. And at this conference, I would like to announce until our next conference, which is either going to be in January 2026 or February 2026, yet to be decided, we will be holding a moot mediation competition every single, and it will be run every single month until the next conference. You are allowed to participate in it, whether you are a mediator or a new mediator, a senior mediator, or a budding want to be mediator. Sorry for the lack of my words. Normally I'm very fluent, but this moot mediation is open to everyone alike. If you think that, you know what, I can be a mediator, I don't actually need to be trained to be a mediator, and I have great conflict resolution skills, join the moot mediation competition. And you will be met with some of the best role players, as some of you who've trained with Radanks are well versed with what great realistic role play scenarios we hold. And in honor to kickstart the moot mediation competition, after tea, or I think tea is at 3 o'clock, I need to confirm, either at 3 or 3:30, either way, I've actually set up a really interesting moot mediation first workshop where your most famous role players of the training course, Ankh and myself, will be role playing. It will be a buzzer round. So all the mediators in the room who believe that they have a question to ask while we're having a conversation or narrating our side of the story as claimant or defendant, whatever we're going to decide to role play, you can say pause, ask that question. The key points that you will be assessed on will be your ability to reframe any negative statements that we've made. If you feel that, you know what, at this point, we are able to ask you to assess. I'm so sorry, I'm facing my back towards the virtual delegates, but this is for everyone alike. If you feel that at some point you are able to ask us to develop our BATNA or WATNA during our narrative or our discussion, you can say pause, and he who pauses first gets that opportunity. You will also be assessed on if you are able to suggest a resolution and how you suggest it as a mediator, about how you play the devil's advocate, and on what kind of questions you really ask as a mediator. This is a great opportunity, whether you partake in the upcoming competition or not, to definitely practice your skills as a mediator over here, and to see where you place either way. So we're going to do that. I just need to double check what time tea is starting, and I'm going to take a 5-minute water break while I just quickly confirm with the team. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to address your questions to Dr. Raj or Graham, or we can go back to our roundtable introductions.
Could I just ask you to clarify how the competition will work?
Yes, so I've got everyone's names down here, and I'm going to allocate points. And the upper hand would be for everyone who started the participation today. Those points will be allocated to you if you do decide to participate in the moot mediation competition. The first winner of the moot mediation competition is going to get £250 cash voucher, plus the ticket of the upcoming conference. The second winner of the moot mediation competition is going to get £150 cash voucher and 50% off the next conference ticket. The third prize winner is going to get, and there are 3 prize winners, I've thought this through clearly. The third prize winner is going to get £50 cash voucher and 20% off the upcoming conference ticket, okay? And we will be judging you every single month. These competitions will be held in person and virtually. The joining fee for the moot mediation competition is £15 per person. It's not £15 per month, it's £15 one-off.
Sorry, will you have people playing the roles of the party?
You will have people, outsiders, not the participants, role playing separately. So there will be no intervention from the participants.
Well, I did referee or was in one in Vilnius last year. There is some company that goes around the world doing these competitions.
There's lots of mediation competitions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can assure you that.
Great idea.
Yeah. So everyone is free to join, including you, Shakti, who is interested in mediation but isn't a mediator yet. Thank you for joining, and all our virtual participants as well. Please feel free to join our mediation competition. This will be on our website for you to sign up for and join until February. It'll be running. Okay. I will quickly go check on what time our tea break is, just so that I don't want that flow to stop.
The best role player award. The best role player award goes to
The other two from
Dr. Kishore Dare and Ankraj. Dr. Kishore Dare, you have been awarded best role player
for the year 2020.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
The certificates and trophy will be sent by Dr. Mishra, Mr. Mishra. So he will take your trophy and certificate. So please send the picture on the group chat. And Ankraj also has been awarded best dangerous role player. Dr. Kishore, just like you, Sheila Washington also, she got so pale the moment she saw Ankraj playing role player. We are missing you, Dr. Kishore Dare.
In next conference, I will be there very soon.
Yes, be ready. We are really missing you. You are the most in-demand role player and mediator. Hope your training is over now, yeah?
Yeah. It's done.
Very highly qualified, double PhD. He has got invitation from LSE, but he still is managing. Very efficient, very highly qualified, very committed. Wonderful.
अभी बहुत सारे लोग और भी बाहर से आने के लिए नहीं पा रहे।
हाँ, कई लोगों के ने अपने फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रक्चर गलत भरे थे. You can sign off, Dere, and do you need him?
Would you like to participate in the mood mediation?
Final. It will be great. You sure?
Should I? When is it now?
You can sign off and we will redo one for the virtual attendees.
Oh, okay.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
lovely day, and congratulations for winning the best role player award.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Sign him off. Great.
Okay.
So switch off the teams.
Yeah.
No more
Yes,
teams?
switch off.
Okay.
You can put the final rhythm.
Thank you very much all the attendees for attending. The virtual session is now going to close. So we are going to be terminating the feed on the Teams chat now. Thank you everyone for joining in. And any last words?
Thank you for all of you. Looking forward to see you next year in February, and have a lovely day.
Hello to Dr. Raj and to everyone joining this conference. I'm really sorry I can't be there today, so I have recorded this message for you all instead, and I do hope to meet you soon. It's a real pleasure to be part of this year's conference and to contribute a few words of support for the conference and the important work being done by Radanks. My name is Peter Corsten. I'm a barrister, mediator, I'm a fellow of the Civil Mediation Council, I'm honoured to serve as a member of Radanks Mediators Panel and also to work as an assessor on Radanks accredited mediation training courses. Over recent years, I've seen how Radanks, under the inspirational leadership of Dr. Raj, has grown into a truly global mediation organisation. From its base in London, Radanks has developed a strong reputation for world-class Civil Mediation Council registered training and for promoting mediation as a respected professional and ethical practice. What makes Radanks distinctive is its global outlook, in my view, bringing together mediators, legal professionals and educators from around the world to share their knowledge, develop skills and strengthen the culture of peaceful dispute resolution. Its ethos of being concerned, committed and confident really shines through. Mediation is now developing at great speed in the UK and in India. Dr. Raj herself has played an important role in that process, having assisted with the formation and amendment of the Mediation Act 2023 in India, which is a landmark piece of legislation that provides a comprehensive framework for civil and commercial mediation. In parallel, India's courts are embracing pre-institution mediation under Section 12A of the Commercial Courts Act 2015, encouraging parties to seek settlement before litigation even begins. Initiatives such as Chandigarh's 90-day mediation drive, which achieved hundreds of settlements in just a few months, show how effective these measures can be. In the UK, mediation is also thriving, and the courts have affirmed that they can now stay cases for mediation to take part, following the Churchill case, which is a very well-known case in the UK. The latest CEDA mediation audit reports around 17,000 mediations per annum, with a 92% settlement rate. And courts do, as I say, now actively encourage ADR and mediation through new rules and practice directions. The demand for high-quality accredited mediators has never been stronger, and this is where Radanks plays such a pivotal role. Through its CMC registered training and international partnerships, including with the Savadatta Group of Institutes in Pune and the Asian Law College in Noida, Radanks is building bridges between the UK and India, launching mediation training centres and delivering foundation courses, and inspiring a new generation of mediators who are both locally grounded and globally aware. This is not just training, it is actually capacity building for the future, creating professionals who can bridge cultures, support access to justice, and make mediation central to how disputes are resolved across borders and in different countries. So I would like to congratulate Dr. Raj and the entire Radanks team for their vision, leadership and international reach. And to everyone attending this conference, I wish you all an inspiring and productive few days of learning, training, collaboration and sharing of experience. And as I say, I do very much look forward to meeting you in person or remotely again in future. Thank you very much.
Greetings to Dr. Raj and every participant at the Radanks 6th Annual India-UK Trade and Mediation Conference 2025. I am Santan Krishnan. I am a lawyer at the Supreme Court of India and also the President of Nivaran, the Mediators of Supreme Court of India. Alongside, I am the co-convener of the ADR Committee of the CLA, which is Commonwealth Lawyers Association, and also its honorary life president. With the passing of unanimous resolution of United Nations in December 2018 to legitimize the cross-border dispute settlement and the subsequent Singapore Convention in August 2019 started transforming the global dispute resolution mechanism. Mediation was introduced as a new method for resolving disputes outside the court mechanism and outside the adjudication process through various methods. Multifold increase in manufacturing, investment, trade, business, and services led to finding a way out to resolve disputes through mediation. India and UK have been collaborating on various issues, including dispute resolution. Subsequent to the Free Trade Agreement and the visit of Prime Minister Sir Keith Starmer, demonstrated that 125 persons who came along as a team, India and UK have been collaborating on various issues confronting their economies, respective economies. India is also talking in terms of Viksit Bharat 2047. In order to fulfill these aspirations, dispute resolution, particularly through the mechanism of mediation, has become essential. Taking cue from various such developments, an entity based in UK has been in the forefront. Radanks not only is in the process of promoting mediation, but also training mediators in UK, in India, and various other places. Radanks has been playing a stellar role in this front. Particularly, its dynamic leader, Dr. Raj, has been doing yeoman service along with her team, in as much as Dr. Raj was part of the team of discussants leading to the enactment of the Indian Mediation Act 2023. I wish Radanks and everyone attending an inspiring, successful mediation conference 2025. Thank you and best wishes.
Good morning, Dr. Raj, and good morning to everyone joining this important conference. I am Professor Tony Bonn, a mediator, psychologist, and managing partner at Bond Consultancy here in Edinburgh in Scotland. It's a real pleasure to be able to speak with you today, even from a distance. I have been working with Radanks since 2020, and in that time I've seen how its work has strengthened the partnership between India and the UK in relation to mediation. And that partnership isn't just about mediation, it's about people, it's about learning, it's about respect. You see, mediation reflects those same values when it's done well. When it's done well, it turns conflict into cooperation, disagreement into understanding. But mediation only works when mediators are properly and professionally trained. Poorly trained mediators don't just fail to resolve disputes, they can damage trust and in turn give the whole field a bad name. That's why high quality, accredited, ethically and professionally trained mediators is so important. It builds competence, confidence and credibility. And Radanks has led the way internationally in setting those standards. Through its accredited programs and its commitment to ethical practice, it's shown that mediation is not a soft option, but a serious professional discipline that gets proven results. I also want to recognize Dr. Raj for her exceptional leadership and vision, particularly in her role in shaping and refining India's Mediation Act of 2023. It's a major step forward in the profession and a signal of India's commitment to mediation and ADR. Look, as we look ahead, and I think our shared goal is very clear. We want to build a new generation of mediators who are skilled, trusted, globally connected, people who can bridge cultures and resolve complex issues with fairness and integrity. I'd like to wish everyone a successful and inspiring conference. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome to the Radanks International Conference on Mediation. I am Dr. Kishore Dere, speaking from India. I happen to be a fellow of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, Lawyers and Mediator. I did my training in mediation from the Radanks Institute, and it is indeed a matter of honor and pleasure for all of us that now we are having this international conference of mediation that is being arranged by Radanks. As all of us are aware that the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, 17 goals, out of that goal number 16 is very much focused on the cause of justice, especially providing access to justice for all. And in that context, mediation assumes a great deal of significance for the simple reason that the courts in many countries are having too many cases, and that therefore it takes too long to deliver justice. So as a result, litigants are frustrated. Moreover, the adversarial system of litigation creates a zero-sum game, or the outcome is such that only one party wins while other loses. That creates further bitterness. And therefore, to resolve these issues, to address the concern of society and injustice that creates unrest in society, the United Nations International Commission on Trade Law, UNCITRAL, so they proposed the mediation law. The United Nations International Convention on Settlement Agreements, especially commercial agreements. So that is there. That is called Singapore Convention on Mediation. So that's a major initiative at international level, and that speaks volumes of the global nature of mediation. So mediation is not only for the commercial disputes that is of either domestic or commercial nature, but also for family disputes, civil matters, matrimonial issues, rent, family disputes, labor or employment disputes. So many such issues which can be resolved easily. So for that, mediation plays a critical and crucial role. As we are aware that even those countries, like those in the European Union, although they have not signed the Singapore Convention, yet they have their own the directive on mediation. As we may recall that President Abraham Lincoln of the United States of America, that he used to advise lawyers that lawyers should always take the initiative to encourage their clients to compromise. So he said there is only one word: compromise, compromise, compromise. And by doing so, the parties are saving a lot of time and a lot of money. And also the cause of justice is promoted by adopting the path of mediation. Likewise, the great uh, fighter against the apartheid regime in South Africa, Dr. Nelson Mandela, he used to say that mediation is a great way to ensure that your rival or opponent or enemy is not antagonized, because he has a lot of mistrust in you, and if you adopt the path of mediation, so that facilitates the conversation, that helps in restoring the trust between both the parties. Even Mahatma Gandhi, who led the freedom struggle in India and who adopted the path of peace and non-violence, so he used to emphasize on mediation. In his view, that mediation was a very fantastic way to unite the parties. And he himself was a lawyer, and therefore he used to say that by taking recourse to mediation, he did not lose anything. Rather, he earned a lot of trust and happiness between the parties. And that's how the process of mediation continues to have relevance even today. And by adopting this path of mediation, so in international relations or domestic relations, family matters, neighborhood disputes, local area issues, commercial matters, so it's possible to have justice expeditiously, effectively, ethically, and also by saving a lot of time and money. So I hope that more and more participants will take this issue very seriously and promote the cause of justice by supporting mediation. I wish all the best. Thank you so much.
डॉक्टर रेणुराज रेडेक्स या संस्थेच्या संस्थापक यांना माझा हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. त्या एक गतिमान आणि प्रगतिशील नेत्या आहेत. भारताच्या संसदेमधील मेडिएशन बिल दुरुस्ती समितीवर काम करणाऱ्या आंतरराष्ट्रीय मध्यस्थी तज्ज्ञांपैकी एकमेव व्यक्ती म्हणून त्यांचे योगदान उल्लेखनीय आहे. मेडिएशन बिल 2023 मध्ये पारित झाले. हे त्यांचे एक महान यश आहे. डॉक्टर रेणुराज यांना सलाम. मध्यस्थी ही भविष्यातील वाद सोडवण्याची सर्वोत्तम पद्धत आहे. न्यायालयात न जाता वाद सोडवण्याचा मार्ग. डॉक्टर राज यांनी मध्यस्थीला प्रत्येक वादाच्या निराकरणाचा पहिला आणि पर्याय आणि पहिलं पाऊल बनवण्यासाठी सतत प्रयत्न केले आहेत. टीम रॅडॅन्क्स उत्कृष्ट काम करत आहे आणि मी त्यांना भविष्यासाठी शुभेच्छा देते. मला ठाम विश्वास आहे की मध्यस्थी हा वाद सोडवण्याचा सर्वोत्तम मार्ग आहे. दीर्घकाळ चालणाऱ्या खटल्यांमध्ये अडकून न पडता पुढे जाण्याचा मार्ग आहे. या आंतरराष्ट्रीय परिषदेत मला सहभागी करून घेतल्याबद्दल डॉक्टर रेणुराज आणि त्यांच्या टीमचे आभार. थँक्यू सो मच.
Dr. Raj and distinguished dignitaries, greetings from Sri Lanka. I'm overwhelmed at the progress mediation has made by today, from an alternative consideration to a concrete pathway to justice. We have all been partners of this miraculous journey, and I'm delighted to be a part of the same, and I'm delighted to be a part of Radanks. I'm thankful to Dr. Renu for this occasion. We have come a long way. What we have achieved as mediators has been in the role of peacemakers. What we have achieved can best be described or valued by the altercations we have avoided, the disputes we have resolved, and the ruptures we have avoided, and the relationships that we have restored. Mediation is a wonderful tool. So may you all be successful in this conference. May you gain wisdom. May you be better mediators. May you be better peacemakers. I wish you all success. Thank you.
Good morning, esteemed guests and honored participants of the Radanks 6th Annual India UK Trade and Mediation Conference 2025. I am Thilinagam Shankarvel, President of MEDAV International. It's an honor to address the distinguished gathering. The India-UK partnership in mediation and trade is a beacon of hope for global cooperation. I commend Dr. Renu Raj and the Radanks team for their tireless efforts in promoting mediation excellence and fostering international collaboration. The Mediation Act 2023 in India is a landmark legislation, and Dr. Raj's contribution to its formation are truly commendable. This conference is a testament to the growing importance of mediation and resolving cross-border disputes. In today's globalized world, mediation plays a vital role in promoting peace and facilitating international trade. Technology has revolutionized mediation practices, enabling online dispute resolution and increasing accessibility. I appreciate Radanks' commitment to advancing mediation standards, promoting ethical practice, and providing a platform for professionals to share knowledge. Continuous professional development is essential in mediation, and Radanks' efforts in this area are commendable. To Radanks, I offer my best wishes for continued success. May this conference be a milestone in fostering global cooperation and peace. To the participants, I wish you fruitful deliberations and meaningful connections. Let us work together to shape the future of mediation. The UK and India are both advancing mediation through policy, education, and awareness initiatives. This conference is an excellent opportunity for knowledge sharing and collaboration. Thank you, and I wish the conference all success. Goodbye.
Good morning. I'm Dr. D.R. Rai from Delhi, India. I'm a recipient of most prestigious award from President of India, that is Dr. B.C. Roy National Award. At present, I'm International Advisor to AMDA, which is the Association of Medical Doctors of Asia, whose headquarters is at Japan. I'm past National Vice President and past National Secretary General of Indian Medical Association. It is a pleasure to extend my warm greetings and best wishes to Radanks on the occasion of 6th Annual India-UK Trade and Mediation Conference. The platform stands as a symbol of growing collaboration between India and the United Kingdom, two nations bound by the shared values of the dialogue, innovation, and partnership. In an era where global trade and cross-border relationships are increasingly complex, mediation has emerged as a cornerstone of peaceful dispute resolution, fostering trust, efficiency, and sustainable business relationship. The mediation movement is not only transforming global dispute resolution, but also contributing significantly to peace building and international cooperation. Radanks deserves a deep appreciation for its international leadership in advancing mediation standards, promoting ethical practices, and providing accredited professional training that empowers mediators across the world. Under the visionary guidance leader Dr. Raj, the organization continues to play a pivotal role in shaping a culture of constructive dialogue and resolution. Dr. Raj, who has devoted his whole life in the mediation, she is known as an institution of mediation process. Wishing the conference every success in further strengthening the India-UK partnership and promoting mediation as a pathway to harmony and progress. Thank you very much.
Hello all of you, I am Dr. Renu Raj, CEO and founder of Radanks Limited based in Chancery in London. On November 7, 2025, Radanks Limited had a distinct honor of hosting our 6th Annual International Conference on Mediation. We gathered at the prestigious Surveyors House in London, Parliament Square, welcoming a truly global delegation of mediation experts. The energy in the room, the quality of the discussion, and the connections formed were inspiring on sector-wise mediation and different dispute resolution. It confirmed that the future of cross-border mediation is collaborative and bright, pioneered by Radanks Limited. A sincere thanks to all of you, our distinguished speakers and attendees, for making the day landmark success. Follow Radanks Limited for more highlights and join the vital conversation.
Good. So, good morning. My name's Alan Rides. I'm the CEO of West London Chamber of Commerce. We're perhaps the second biggest, maybe the biggest Chamber of Commerce in London today. And we have some excellent board members, including the wonderful Radanks, who offer a superb mediation and arbitration service. Today we're here at their conference talking about how we can help with Radanks overcome international trade difficulties. And part of the cultural issues with companies coming to the UK is understanding how to do business not just in their own country, but how to do business internationally. A really good example is between the United Kingdom and the United States of America. Two great countries joined by one language, which can have dramatically different interpretations in different places. And it's not just about the simple words that are on a piece of paper, it's about the interpretation that companies give to those. And getting those right at the beginning is a very interesting thing that's well worth companies spending a bit of time with an arbitration lawyers to understand how they can avoid future problems in major contracts. So I'm looking forward to today's event with Radanks, and I wish them well for today and the future. Thank you.
Well, I'll begin to talk on how technology can transform mediation. So I've been involved writing and speaking events like these all around the world for over 25 years. And the application of technology to the task of mediation. It got a bit of a false start with COVID in the sense that everybody thought, Zoom, we can carry on our mediation. And we're doing ODR, online dispute resolution. But that's not the case. That is not true online. True online dispute resolution is where the technology augments the skills of the mediator and with a view to helping him to bring about resolution, and sometimes by the parties themselves. So it's using technology, it's augmenting the intelligence of the mediator, not replacing it, and not simply providing a platform, because when a mediator mediates through Zoom or similar, his skills and techniques are still the same. They haven't changed. It's just convenient for not having to attend in person. Of course, many mediators say that that loses something as well. And of course, one of the most important things to be concerned about in a mediator is to make sure that the parties do feel that they are being heard. These days, it seems that you have to spend more time making sure the parties haven't muted themselves. But these are one of the metaphors of mediation. Well, I'm a retired solicitor that practices as a mediator in shareholder disputes, but for over 25 years I've been writing and speaking and researching, carrying out work in the field of what we called over 25 years ago online dispute resolution, and it has developed over the years, and that's why I'm here to meet everybody and see and talk about the how technology can change and transform the skills of getting people and helping people get to mediation. It's not just about resolution. It's not just about, for example, ChatGPT. It's quite amazing how that system has developed. And of course, you can feed into ChatGPT or similar text-based artificial intelligence systems background facts about a case and of the people concerned, and most importantly of their interests. And it'll come up with things to say that will help a track to resolution. But no, technology needs to be more than that if the mediators don't want to find they're being pushed out by robot mediators. And that's why it's necessary to engage with the technologists and what they're building specifically for helping people reach resolution. Systems like Smart Settle 1 and Smart Settle Infinity, next level mediation. And there are these systems. It's a lot more than just having a meeting on Zoom.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Dinesh Saraswat. I'm one of the associate mediator with Radanks Limited, and I'm so proud of attending this sixth international conference of mediation being conducted by Radanks. It's an international conference. Many of the people from internationally, they have come here, and I'm proud to be attending it. Mediation is the process and which is the only answer now in the days ahead. Ever since for all the dispute resolution, ever since the trade agreement has been signed between UK and India, as I belong to or I represent the education sector, higher education sector, I feel there is likely to be many of those disputes are likely to be coming up, and if they are coming up, and there is a great scope. So mediation is amongst the two parties. It is a resolution. They will have to find the resolution, and we have to facilitate that particular resolution. So this is the only answer. It's a very short term, and in a very short span of time, it can be settled. Both the parties will be satisfied. They both will be having express their views there. So mediation is the only answer for all the dispute resolution. So I strongly recommend and thank Radanks for giving this platform to me as well, and to many people, those who are nationally and internationally. And I wish all good luck, and sincerely believe that next year again I will be speaking to you for the Radanks 7th International Conference. Thank you very much, Radanks.
Good afternoon. Hi, this is Manoj Prasad. I'm a career investment banker and qualified lawyer. Work with the blue chip investment bank like Morgan Stanley, Barclays Capital, HSBC. And we have recently done a course on mediation with Radanks. I am so delighted that I did the course. You know, the mediation is one of the platform where it solves every problem. I believe we are living in a world where even a small misunderstanding can cause a huge problem and misunderstanding and then create a rugged. But mediation is the only platform which provides a peaceful resolution and understanding, which will not only solve the problem, but also maintain the relationship, building it, and you can carry on, you strengthen the relationship. But whereas litigation or court resolution it's a very lengthy, costly, and not a good end. So I would suggest mediation is always the way forward to build a relationship, solve any dispute, and get to the good life. Thank you so much, and I thanks Radanks for providing this platform and being a forefront runner to teaching people, educating people like mediation is the only way. And all good wishes to all the mediators, upcoming mediators, new mediators, and people who are looking at the mediation as the option to resolve their problem and find a solution. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Dr. Adobe Onepeli Bakare. I'm here at the 2025 Radanks Conference. It was very inspiring. There was a lot of speakers, and I learned so much. Dr. Renu Raj is a visionary. She has transformed mediation in a different level. She's made it globally, and she's all over the world, India, and she's coming to Nigeria, Africa, to develop mediation. And I, Dr. Adobe, will be the Nigerian representative for Radanks. And I think people should attend Radanks event, because attending Radanks event means that you can develop your mind and be with the latest in mediation, so that your business in civil and commercial mediation can skyrocket and you become with one of the world leaders like Radanks.
I'm Rajendra Mishra and I'm associated with Messrs. Radanks for almost 7-8 months now. I took the training from them about mediation techniques, and I must admit they are the best in training somebody into mediation. They don't leave you just after the training is over. They continue your skill upgradation every month by conducting moot courts and CPDs, which are very well designed by them. I find a complete changed person today after associating with them. My self-confidence has increased. My abilities in dealing with people has increased. My listening skills have improved a lot, and I can now effectively act as a mediator in family disputes, in civil, in commercial, and other kinds of matters where mediation can be of immense help. As I can see, the days of litigation are now pretty much over, because mediation is such a powerful technique that it will take most of the cases out of litigation. People will appreciate very soon the speed with which the cases get resolved without affecting their relationships, and in shortest possible time, which is the best part of the technique which mediation offers. Thank you so much. I once again thank Radanks for bringing about this kind of improvement in my personality. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amit Afsarmur, and I've just finished my mediation training, and I'm awaiting my results. But like me, there might be millions of us who don't know what mediation is or weren't aware of it. And I think this conference is going to create some great awareness for the people around the world. For whoever looked up to be a lawyer, whoever wanted to change people's perspective, whoever wanted to help cases, like the cases back in India, there's huge backlogs, and this mediation would really help people, and anyone can be a mediator, which is a great thing that we didn't know about it. I'm sure there'll be like millions of people who don't know about mediation. They think about going to court first. I think that's the worst case scenario, and it's better to get the resolution through a mediation process, but at the same relationships and some disputes that and relations where people it will go sour. So I guess this is a great platform for everyone to try it, see what they can do with it. It's the closest I could be to a lawyer, and that's my opinion on this. So thank you. And Radanks team has been very great, generous, given us opportunity to train. Dr. Renu Raj, Ank, and Adamya, they have been great with the training course, and I would recommend it to everyone whoever watches this video. And just to find out more about Radanks and what they can offer, and come to the office and meet the people behind it, I mean, it's a great opportunity you guys can explore.
Hi, my name is Ioana, and I have recently trained with Radanks. Radanks has given me the opportunity to train in mediation, which in my opinion, mediation is something that we use on a daily basis. However, the main point here is that mediation can come in many forms actually, but it's really important to point out that this is a tool that I feel it's very important to use, especially in today's world where a lot of things go wrong, and the courts and the criminal justice needs to spend a lot of time on dealing with the actual real big problems. What I'm trying to say is not to say that mediation doesn't help real problems. Mediation actually deals with a lot of conflicts, from family to work disputes. So there's a big range. I believe everyone has conflicts and wants a resolution in a way or another every day in life. So yes, I'm very grateful for Radanks for giving me this opportunity to train with them. The course has been amazing. It's more than 10 out of 10. both the trainers and Dr. Raj, who is the CEO and founder, have been very supportive, very understanding, but also provided really good feedback and very realistic feedback, which I think is really important when you want to train as a mediator. And you do get to learn a lot on the course, not only from the theory, but also from your instructors and teachers and the experiences and the role plays. It's all, it's a lot, basically. But I'm very grateful because this has given me the opportunity today to qualify as an accredited international mediator. And I'm looking forward to discover more what mediation means for me and where it can take me. I just want to highlight as well that today I have attended Radanks 2025 conference for mediation, and it's been very eye-opening because you do get to sit at the table with a lot of people who come from several backgrounds with several expertise. Some of them are like senior mediators, some are like just starting, just like us. So it's been very helpful and eye-opening to see how much and how mediation actually is viewed from different situations, how mediation is perceived from other perspective, and how mediation can actually be used in real world. Thank you very much, and I hope that you get to find out about Radanks. There is you can find them on like the internet. There is a lot of information available, and please do reach out to the team, who are great for explaining in detail everything that you might need to know. Thank you.
It's so beautiful occasion, and successfully we have concluded today's our Radanks International Mediation Conference. We have got delegates from different countries, and it was very successful with the beautiful, very prominent speakers, very senior mediators, solicitors, judges, lawyers, and from India also a couple of good students were there. 15 students has been accredited, and they all got their certificates accreditation confirmation. So Adamya is a very good MC, and since he is a leader, mediation training lead, and she has taken very good control over the conference, full control. And Raj has won the best role player award with Kishore Dare, and it was very good opportunity to let people know that yes, you can win the award and prize for the role player. So the bell is ringing. I am so happy to hear the bell. Westminster Abbey's bell is there, and that is the House of Parliament Common, and this is the Big Ben, and this is one of the pioneer and very beautiful place